But I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
With a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. They were too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
So you said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest. Into the digital darkness. Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. What's going on, guys? It's Wednesday night, which is one of the nights we get together and talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. We do that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific. What are those things, you may wonder? Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. That's what happens when you read chat and try and talk on, yeah. And when your brain does too many things, you get a freeze, a frozen moment, and that was a frozen moment. What's going on, guys? Happy Wednesday. I hope everybody's doing well. Hump day, and we're just we're hanging out talking about crazy stuff by dark and night. That's what we do on this show, and just trying to find novel ways to kind of look at history, to kind of look at some esoteric things, look at maybe how some of the modern things fit to the ancient things, and is there a direct connection? Sometimes maybe, and that's what this is all about, because of course if we're not thinking about it, we're not talking about it, there aren't that many people that do. I'm not saying we're the only ones. There are a lot of good folks out there doing good work on the interwebs and thinking in terms of, let's say, ancient times, and then trying to see how some of that stuff correlates, how the cycles of time sort of recycle themselves. And so tonight, we're talking about immortality. All right, immortality. What's up? Blowing the back alley up with troubled minds on the JBLs. Oh, good God! Don't piss off the neighbors too much. Hey, so the thing is, right? Regarding all this, we've got this just bizarre stuff happening with the Queen. What do you guys know about the Queen of England? Elizabeth II, reigning for 70 years. 70 years. I mean, holy smackaroni. That's a long time. And, she's the Queen of England has been the butt of many conspiracies over the years. And, infamously, David Icke calling her a reptilian and all kinds of crazy stuff. stuff, right? I mean, I don't know if that stuff's true. You know me, like I say, and this is the truth. I really believe this. You know, I try not to like interject my beliefs all the time because then I just sound like every other jerk on the internet. But I do believe this in particular, that conspiracies are everywhere. I do believe that. But I also believe that not everything is a conspiracy, okay? And so it's very important to be able to kind of talk about these things and think about these things, but not buy every single thing everybody says as complete, honest truth. Don't buy every conspiracy hook, line, and sinker. That's my advice there, because I think it's too easy to kind of go too far down the rabbit hole. It's a slippery slope, they say, right? So just be careful about who you believe and what they say, and make sure you do your fact checks and all the rest of this, because I see, man, there's so much fake news out there. It's utterly ridiculous. So anyway, so what we're doing tonight, as usual, we're having just a conversation, right? This is not about it's Elizabeth II, and yeah, she's going to turn 100 soon. I think she's 95. We'll get to that in a little bit, but okay. But the thing is this, right? Regarding all the rest of this conspiracies and the rest, just be careful. Just be careful, okay? This is just a conversation. This is not a declaration of truth by any means, and I just want to make that clear for if you guys know me and you've been here, you know this. This is not. It's not that. All right. Please don't think it's that. We were talking about bizarre mirror rituals and Bloody Mary and candles in the dark, looking into the mirrors last night. Like I said, don't do that. I mean, or at least if you do, maybe know what you're doing. I mean, just because you heard it on the internet, don't immediately run off and do it, right? So anyway, there's my advice. Like I said, I don't like to give advice because it makes me sound like an a-hole, but that's just my word of caution, let's say, not really advice, but okay, that's what's up. So okay, it is a conversation, so it does go two ways. Of course, my job is to bring something interesting, compelling, something you may not have heard about before, and just bring it up for a discussion and maybe make a couple, three connections along the way, meaning connect the things together, kind of look at things from the eyeballs of a synchro mystic. And I didn't even know that term until I met our good buddy Derek the Night Stalker. What's up, Derek in Massachusetts? Shout out, what's up, lose Celtics. Let's make some magic in the air for the Celtics to lose. But just ribbing my buddy Derek. But I mean, so just doing a little bit of dabbling in synchro mysticism and seeing how maybe ancient things do line up with modern things in some capacity. So as usual, we're streaming on, of course, Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Twitter, and we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM, and we're taking your phone calls. If you want to be part of the show, just dial a number. The phone number is 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. We'll put you on the show. It's as easy as that. You can also click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Troubledminds.org is the official website. You can find the phone number there. So if I read the phone number too quickly, which I want to do, I do that from time to time because I just talk fast. My brain works quickly, I speak quickly, and I just talk fast. So one of my challenges is slow down, Mike. Slow down. If you hear me talking to myself and not talking to you, slow down, Mike. I'm talking to myself. Just slow down, Mike. It's okay. Slow down. All right. So there we go. Slow down. I remind myself it's okay, and we can slow down. But okay. So as part of that, if I do read the phone number too quickly, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. 1037. You can go to troubledminds.org and click the Discord link there and join the show that way. Discord's a chat client. It's a voice client. It's completely free if you have an internet connection, and it's a great way for individuals to get to know each other, to hang out, to share links and ideas and videos and share your screen. And I mean, it's an incredible program. If you guys are a little bit older like me and you remember the interwebs from back in the day, from like the early 2000s, late 90s, they had like the IRC clients, and they had like, all kinds of just really super weird stuff with the old school chat, the AOL chat rooms and whatnot. Discord is that, but like a whole another level. It's like, it works like a telephone. It works like a live stream program. It works like, it's awesome. Like I said, we are not sponsored by Discord. It's just that good of a program that we hang out there mostly every night after the show even. So if you haven't joined the Discord yet, troubledminds.org, click the Discord link, come say hi, come meet myself and all these amazing folks that contribute to the show. Let's see, that's that. And the phone number is there. If I read it too fast, go to troubledminds.org, one-stop shop, everything you need. And there we go. let's see. You got that. We are also broadcasting on Fringe FM, like I said, which is digital radio. And you can help there by going and joining their Discord. Same program, different Discord, different room. I'm watching all the chat in all the places. And you can go to fringe.fm/chat. That will give you direct invite. And the easiest way to listen to Troubled Minds is to download the Fringe app, which you can find at your favorite app store, of course. That would be iTunes, Apple or Android. It's completely free. And at 7 o'clock, Monday through Thursday, you smash the play button on the Fringe app. You get Troubled Minds. It's the easiest way to listen to Troubled Minds. All right. That's what's up. That's what we're doing. That's what's going on tonight as we begin. Now look. This is the crazy news over the weekend, right? I saw this and I was trying to consider, all right, how do we make a show of this? Because this is super weird. And this is part of the problem, right? Like, there's a lot of great ideas out there, a lot of great bizarre news and whatnot, but turning it into a 3-hour conversation is the challenge, because you have to try and, make some connections, do a little bit of research, try and find out what the hell is really going on here, and maybe look into the past, to maybe not ancient England per se, but we'll take the Queen's Jubilee, the Platinum Jubilee, and we're going to take this all the way back to ancient Egypt tonight. All right, check this out. We start here at Gizmodo.com. Was the Queen's virtual carriage ride a real hologram? Now, did you see this? This is absolutely nutters. Okay, I'm going to read straight from the article from Gizmodo. Check this out. The Platinum Jubilee, a celebration of Queen Elizabeth II's 70-year rule, was celebrated in the United Kingdom this past weekend with a parade on Sunday featuring the same solid gold carriage. Now remember, one thing we're going to talk about tonight is ritual magic. Solid gold carriage, the same solid gold carriage she took in 1953 for her coronation. But the Queen wasn't actually in the coach this time, instead opting to have a film from 1953 sit in her place. Many news outlets have called the film a hologram, but does it actually qualify as a hologram? Okay, a lot of weirdness going on right here just as we begin, because okay. What is this? So a few questions as we start tonight. Number one, what do you know about the Queen of England? What do you know about Elizabeth II and her 70-year reign? That's the term, reign, whatever the hell that means, right? Her 70-year reign. It sounds like the reign of terror. Well, what do you know about it? And what do you think regarding the royals in the United Kingdom? And now look, I don't know a lot about this. And I think the craziest part about the royals to me, and that whole, every time I see a Meghan Markle or a Prince Harry, I just facepalm. Right? I just like, oh god, I've almost exterminated it out of my news feeds by saying, nope, not interested. Nope, not interested. Nope, not interested. Right? Because I'm just like sick of them just trying to slam this royal news down my throat. It's like, no, you know what? I kind of don't care. I just don't care. So the most astounding thing to me about the royals in this day and age is that there's royals at all anywhere. What is going on? This is not 1670. It's 2022, people. But okay, so anyway, so I'm just cruising the news cycles, and I saw this and was like, wait, what? So we're talking in terms of, again, wink, wink, back to ritual magic, the same solid gold carriage that Elizabeth II rode in her 1953 coronation, the exact same solid gold carriage, okay, is rolling through this parade in the Platinum Jubilee, is what they're calling the 70th year of the Queen Elizabeth reign. Okay. Now it's super weird. Elizabeth II. Okay, so super weird, right? We got to sync, right? Because Elizabeth I was, of course, the court of the famous John Dee. You guys remember the court magician? We talked about in that one show where there's a claim that John Dee conjured in the British Empire with some sort of esoteric magic in a particular spot that's still there. Super weird, right? So this is Elizabeth II. Okay. All right. So we got a weird sync there that started me thinking, okay, wait. So what is up? We got Elizabeth II. We got a 70-year coronation. I don't really know much about gematria and the numbers and that type of thing, but is there some weird thing with 70 years? Maybe. I didn't go down that road tonight. I went down another road, and you'll bear with me because I think you'll actually enjoy this because I from an ignorant Yankee. That's the best way to play it. Ignorant Yankee. That's probably the best way. I like that. That needs to be a T-shirt. Ignorant Yankee. I don't know enough about this, but it did trace me back down some ritual magic lines to ancient Egypt. All right. Now the bizarre stuff is, like I said, give me a minute to get there. But so speaking in terms of ritual magic, we've got a 70-year coronation. It's called the Platinum Jubilee, and we have Elizabeth II in her 70th year. All right, not 70 years old, 70th year of her reign. All right, reign of terror. All right, that okay. Now the same. Solid gold carriage. Okay, so that's where we start. But even more weird than all of this is this hologram that's actually sitting inside of this carriage. Okay, and it's not like a direct hologram, like one of those spaces where it's like a Tupac dancing on the stage in hologram form, right? It's not like that. Although it could be. It could be. So here's the thing. Let's go back to this article and just read a little bit more about this, okay? And I'll finish the questions in a second. My brain's all over the place right now because I'm buzzing a little bit from this. Now look, here we go. It says, does this actually qualify as a hologram? So if you look at Queen Elizabeth II here, it's her actual. What she looked like in 1953. It's like a video of her, right? And kind of superimposed inside the carriage, this solid gold carriage, okay? Now, that got me thinking in terms of exactly like I described, like that Tupac stuff, or like the Michael Jackson shows where they have, MJ's, rest in peace, Michael Jackson and Tupac and, Elvis and Buddy Holly and all the people that they continue to put on stage as holograms in this way of sort of hologram immortality, right? And so, of course, when I saw this, I was like, wait, what? And there was a lot of speculation over the weekend that Queen Elizabeth had passed away, and they were just faking this, and they did this because, right? Because, it's like, hey, if she's not there, we're going to just fake this hologram and run the thing out. And anyway, I don't think that's true. She's just really, 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 let's say, wise. That's a good way to put it. But I do think she's still alive. But it remains to be seen at David Icke style, wink, wink, if she's a reptilian alien. And I'm only half kidding there. But okay, look. So in real life, most people understand holograms to be three-dimensional creations that allow the viewer to walk around and see various angles of the projection, as though it's there in the room with you. And based on the video evidence available, the visual effect on display this past Sunday wasn't a hologram, wasn't an actual hologram, okay? And it's strange to me that this article on Gizmodo is kind of getting into the weeds of, well, it wasn't like a real hologram, and they're talking about Pepper's Ghost, which dates to the 1860s, which was a stage effect with a mirror. And again, you guys have all heard this term, smoke and mirrors, right? Smoke and mirrors. And this is how you create, well, an illusion. This is how many magicians do their craft and their magic. And of course, right, maybe this is a little smoke and mirrors action. But, let's say Pepper's Ghost, let's say hologram, let's say whatever the hell you want to call this. Fine. I don't really care, right? What piqued my interest was when I started reading about it is, of course, the solid gold carriage was, of course, the hologram inside the carriage, or let's say it was more of a movie or this Pepper's Ghost effect, sort of a two-dimensional image. It wasn't a three-dimensional hologram. But, of course, with the conspiracy theories over the weekend saying that the Queen of England had passed on, and this was just a way to, wink, wink, keep people, under the reign of Elizabeth II. I don't know how this works. Like I said, I'm an ignorant Yank, so I don't know what the hell's going on here. I'm confused as hell. But it is strange to me that we have this sort of idea of, again, go back to Michael Jackson, Tupac, and, these performers that are still passed away, but also still from time to time performing live, even famously Tupac in particular, not that long ago, a few years back, performed on stage with Snoop Dogg, who knew each other back then, right? back when Tupac was alive, and they were boys back then. And so Snoop Dogg actually performed on stage with a hologram Tupac. Okay, now this is this is where I started to go, wait, what's going on here, right? Because we talk about immortality a lot on this show. Not just the elites and Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, and what's this going to look like when we download or upload our consciousness and then download it into an ashtray or a R2D2 robot or whatever, right? What does this look like? Well, one of the ways this actually sort of culminates in a, let's say, hologram immortality is you upload your consciousness and you don't download it into a device or a machine or an android. You actually manifest as very much like Michael Jackson performing on stage or Tupac performing on stage after they passed away, Buddy Holly, etc., so on. The King, Elvis Presley, the King, that's a whole nother one there. But you get, right? You get what I'm saying. Instead of actually downloading your consciousness into a device or a robot or an android or something to that effect, you could actually embody yourself and your consciousness as a direct hologram. And as technology changes and becomes more and more prevalent and weird, maybe this is where this goes, right? And so it got me thinking in terms of, okay, well, how come, let's say, the conspiracy theory over the weekend, one of them anyway, because of course they're just all over the damn place. You can't even keep track anymore. Even for a semi-pro conspiracy theorist here, you just can't keep track. They just hot and heavy all the time. But it got me thinking in terms of this hologram immortality, and not just in terms of the Queen of England, but what about everybody? What about, it got me thinking about Michael Jackson, it got me thinking about Tupac, thinking about Buddy Holly, all those names that I mentioned already. But what the hell's going on here? I mean, is she just too old to get in the carriage? I mean, sure, fine, maybe. I mean, what is she, 95? Or I don't know. But okay, right? It was creepy. It's like, okay, so not only do we have a hologram of sorts in a solid gold carriage for the Platinum Jubilee, right, the 70th anniversary of the reign of Elizabeth II, it's a hologram of her from 1950, was it 58? I don't know. My math is terrible. And whatever. I'll pull it up here. Hold on. One sec. 1953. Sorry. 1953. So 70 years. 2022. Okay, Mike, don't be a moron. But look, 1953. But it also had the image of her in 1953. So not only is she a hologram, she's de-aged, right? She's sort of turned into this younger version of herself. I don't know. Okay, all right. So this is where we start because I just thought this was super weird. I'll get to the questions after because I just been rambling because like I said, my head's a little buzzing from this because I stumbled onto some things that seem to connect to ancient Egypt. And I don't know if it's intentional. I don't know if I'm making a stretch, but I'll make the case as we go. A few questions as we start. Questions being, what do you know about the royal family? Why do we still have a royal family in 2022? 2, why do you think they had a solid gold, not chariot, but that's right, something to that effect, with a hologram of Queen Elizabeth II, right? Is that weird? Super weird. Number 3, do you think this is nefarious at all? Or do you think that I'm just making a little more out of something that I shouldn't? All right. So clearly, Queen Elizabeth II is not passed away. She did show up in the Platinum Jubilee on a balcony later during the ceremony. So she did come out to say hi. And oddly enough, I'm sure you guys have seen this. This is from the Platinum Jubilee from the royal.uk. I'm sure you guys have seen photographs of the Queen Elizabeth and, the reptilian. I'm going to say no. But I'm going to say, look at those chompers also. So what are your thoughts regarding all that stuff? And I'm going to get to a little bit more narrative based tonight because there's a whole lot of stuff for me to talk about and get to because there's some syncs going on, which I'll talk about as we go. So what are your thoughts on all this so far? What about this bizarre Platinum Jubilee, 70 years of Queen Elizabeth II, the gold carriage, and the hologram? Love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. More takes from an ignorant Yank. When we return, be right back. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Twitter, and we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. Tonight, we're taking your phone calls as we talk about this hologram, the Platinum Jubilee from the Queen of England, Elizabeth II, the 70-year anniversary of her reign, whatever the hell that means. What do you know about this? Do you think it's weird that we've now been corrected by Rivers that it is not a actual solid gold carriage? But okay, fair enough. And apparently there's no actual Queen of England since 1603 is what I'm told. Shout out to Rivers out there. Thanks for setting us ignorant Yankees straight. But isn't it strange, though, that they had a hologram here, all right? Now, in terms of the hologram, I started looking into this, and not just sort of that life extension bit, of course. That's where my mind goes. I'm like, okay, how do we download consciousness and become something else, right? Whether it is an android or a robot or this type of thing. One of those ways we would manifest as uploading and downloading our consciousness to live forever would be through this sort of holographic technology, okay? Which, is it here yet? I'm not so sure, okay? Again, I'm not sold that a lot of these conspiracy theories with med beds and holographic projections of sentient entities are locked in quite yet. Maybe 100 or 200 years from now, I'd have a better time believing it, but maybe that makes me a lousy conspiracy theorist. But okay, so the thing is this, right? I started looking into this, and I was like, all right, so it did lead me down that the rabbit hole of holograms and bringing back the dead, because that was the rumor. That was the initial rumor. Elizabeth II has passed on, and that's why they have this hologram. And it just turns out that she did show up a little bit later on a balcony and wave and say hi and all the rest of that. She was part of the Platinum Jubilee. Okay, so that's that. Now, this hologram bit, again, like I said, it disconnects from here, because I started looking into the technology that they were using. And again, they're calling this a Pepper's Ghost, something that was used in the 1860s, and it was just a smoke and mirrors stage act sort of thing, right? You could kind of create a ghostly apparition on stage through this smoke and mirror effect, and it made actually supernatural plays in the 1860s very, very popular, okay? That's this Pepper's Ghost. That's what that is. Links are in the description if you want to check it out regarding Pepper's Ghost and that technology, okay? It's less important to the discussion, but I just wanted to mention it because that's what they kept calling this. It's not a true hologram. But there are true holograms, okay? And so I started looking into what kind of technology would be able to put a true hologram out there, like a 3D hologram of a person, okay? Not just, I don't know, a hologram of like a table, an inanimate object, a person, like actually moving around and speaking through like some speaker system, and like you would expect for when they recreated Michael Jackson in a digital form, right? Like what kind of technology? And this is where this got me thinking in terms of ancient magic and what the hell's really going on here. There's this thing called a Keoptics 360, and I'm going to put it on the screen here and you guys can check it out. And now this is what you would do. Again, this is not the technology that you would use to recreate yourself as, again, a living hologram, but it is a way to fake somebody being dead and bring them back, Tupac or Michael Jackson style, okay? So the Keoptics 360 displays revolving 3D animations or special video sequences inside a four-sided transparent pyramid. All right. The device was developed in 2004 by Dutch engineers and designers from Vizu and Ramboll. That's Vizoo, and Ramboll, Ramboll. Okay. But the thing, again, this could be me just going off on a ridiculous tangent. But I went, wait, Keoptics, Cheop. Where do I know that from? And of course, if you know any bit about history or even ancient Egyptian history, and I know very little about it, but I do know that Keoptics is actually based on the word Cheops, right? Which of course is the Greek term for Khufu. All right, Khufu. Now, where have you heard the name Khufu? I'm glad you asked. Now, Khufu was the particular pharaoh who was associated with the Great Pyramid. That's right, the most magnificent wonder of the ancient world, and the only actual wonder of the ancient world that's still standing. All right, okay. So Cheoptics, right, is where we started this. Cheops is the Greek term for Khufu. Okay, that's what got me on this. And not only that, interestingly, this pyramid structure that they're using for Cheoptics 360, again, they play video sequences inside a 4-sided transparent pyramid. And I was like, it sounds like there's something to this. I don't know. Like I said, it was one of those stretches where I thought, really? So we're talking about sort of a living hologram. We're talking about immortality as a hologram. And then I start looking into what that technology actually entails to sort of recreate somebody who's passed on in the 3D form, okay? And the first thing I come up with is Cheoptics 360, all right? Cheops, again, Khufu, the ancient pyramid, the Great Pyramid. And so I'm like, okay, is this just, this seems ridiculous, Mike. Is this a rabbit hole? You're going to really chase this out and make something out of this? And I thought, what's up? Vicky says, Mike, you are not a Yank. Well, thank you. I think that's a compliment. I think that's a compliment. But okay, all right. So Cheoptics 360, Cheops, Khufu, the Great Pyramid, all right? And I was like, okay, so there's got to be something regarding, if there's a connection here in some term, then there's got to be something with resurrection magic with Khufu or Cheops, right? And so I started digging into that. But okay, before we get started and get into that and tell you the rest of that story, because I was a little bit of an Indiana Jones internet adventure tonight. And it, like I said, it started in modern day in the United Kingdom with the 70th coronation of course, Queen Elizabeth II. Not coronation, the 70-year anniversary of her coronation, okay? And now that I've been corrected by my good friend Rivers, it's not a solid gold chariot, so we'll roll with that. But it was a actual hologram of sorts that she was projected as, okay? Through this actual carriage, okay? So that's that. So Cheoptics 360 led me down this ancient Egyptian rabbit hole, which we'll get to momentarily, and I'll fill out the rest of this, okay? But listen, so the questions tonight are this. What do you know about the royal family and conspiracies regarding, okay? 2, what do you think about this maybe ritual sort of situation now that we can change our mind because Rivers corrected me? It's not a solid gold carriage, but let's say gold colored, I guess you could probably say. And this sort of ritual with a holographic Queen Elizabeth II rolling down for the Platinum Jubilee. What about that? And then what about, do you think this is some sort of bizarre ritual? 702-957-1037. Let's go to Robert in Pennsylvania. The Robert, welcome to Troubled Minds, my friend. How are you tonight?
Oh, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing well. Just crazy stuff by dark at night, man. You know me. What are your thoughts on the royal family and the rest of this?
Well, I wasn't. I saw the Queen Elizabeth hologram on the news, and it didn't surprise me. Because I think you are probably a lot of your followers are aware of hologram technology and how it's being developed. Matter of fact, I remember watching a 60 Minutes program where they did a whole thing on after-death holograms, where you could go in, let's say, see your grandfather and ask your grandfather questions, and it's programmed to answer the questions. And it's like talking to the person as though they were there. Did you see that 60 Minutes episode?
I did, actually, and we talked about that in brief previously on the Troubled Mind show, and I did pull some of that up, and I was watching a little bit of it tonight. I got pulled up another one as well from, let me give you the thing here. This is from the List Show TV. Sorry, it's not a big publication, but it's links are in the description down below if you guys want to check it out. Exactly what you're talking about, though, same sort of thing. But go right ahead. Yeah, all that stuff does exist.
Sure, and the technology is getting better and better. Matter of fact, I think it started out with a recreation of Michael Jackson and Roy Orbison in some concerts, holographic images of them in concert. It's still a little rough, but with everything gets better and better as it goes along. And I'm seeing that, and I'm actually thinking that maybe Fatima was a holographic image, maybe projected by a UFO. But I'm seeing a day where I may not see it. I might be one of the holograms, all right, who appears on my grave, all right, and talks to my loved ones, because that's coming too. Right now we have tombstones that have images of the deceased in the tombstone. Some of them actually are animated, and that's coming too, where you go and visit your loved ones on the grave site, and they'll appear before you, and you'll be able to have a talk with them, conversation.
And that exists as well. That exists as well. I've got a thing here where Ronald made a joke that he would be late to his own funeral. Well, there's actually technology that would allow you to attend your own funeral in the form of a hologram, my friend. So, hey, there's no such thing as being late to your own funeral.
Kind of creepy.
That's super creepy.
That'd be kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what I'm seeing is the future of entertainment. As a matter of fact, it could be you. I mean, we could be in 5 or 10 years tune in to Troubled Minds, or when you're hosting Coast to Coast, and instead of watching you on a TV, you'll be projected holographically into the living room.
Yeah, it could be the old school Troubled Mind shows, right? Listening to them holographed, not 2D. You get the 3D version of Michael Strange. So that means behave yourself, Robert, because that means you could peek around and take a look at my ass. Come on now, let's be kind to each other, my friend.
But I'm seeing. You know how people can't afford tickets. I mean, the price of tickets to go see a band, a legendary band, are just astronomical. Who can afford them anymore? But I'm seeing where it's all scaled down, and you'll go to your local pub, all right, and you're sitting there, tables with your girlfriend, your wife, or whatever, and there's a small stage, and on that small stage there's the Beatles. All right, a holograph of the Beatles or the Rolling Stones. I don't know what's in your generation. I'm just going by my generation. But you'll be able to be entertained like they're there.
That's the truth. And so that's exactly what we're talking about tonight. So do you think that's a form of digital immortality? For my generation, it would be Kurt Cobain of Nirvana. He's passed on, the infamous suicide.
Sure, it didn't work well with it. It didn't work well with the Michael Jackson one, but the Roy Orbison one wasn't too bad at all. And if I can give some financial advice while I'm on here, if anybody has the funds to invest in outfits that are advancing the holographic technology, you're going to make some bucks. That's going to be the next Apple.
And we also have to say that this is not financial advice. This is just for entertainment purposes only. But go ahead, my friend.
There you go. But there's the other part, and you've talked about this in the past, too, about the military using holographic UFOs for a false flag invasion. What? There's some title to that. I can't remember what it's called, but you've talked about that in the past.
Plasma spoofing is what it's called. Radar spoofing. Yep.
Yeah. You put that together with this sudden, truthfulness about UFOs coming from the military, is that it may be trying to prepare us while they work together to do a false flag holographic UFO invasion.
Yes, Project Bluebeam, right? That whole thing.
That's it, Project Bluebeam. So, I mean, I'm just fascinated, but I'm more fascinated by that than anything else I've seen in my lifetime, is this holographic technology that's building up. Right now we have, what do they call those things when, you go into a room and you're some character on there? What do they call those things? Those artificial U's that are like cartoons or whatever. What do they call them?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly the term you're looking for.
It's on the tip of my tongue. You know how you go with, like let's say meta. All right.
The metaverse. The metaverse.
What do they call them?
The metaverse. The VR goggles. That whole metaverse thing.
Yeah. Yeah, but what are the characters? There's a name for the kind of characters that are artificially created there that you can chat with. What's that called?
Oh, an avatar, or I think that's probably close. An avatar.
There you go, avatar. That's it, avatar. Avatars, that's right. So it's going to make avatars look like something from the 300 or 400 years ago or something. The hologram technology that's coming advanced, because that's what's coming, and that may be what Zuckerberg's looking at. All right, as far as his metaverse goes. Is he certainly wouldn't be showing us all of his cards, but I have a sneaking suspicion that he's behind the scenes investing very heavily in a holographic type of Facebook.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
The metaverse.
That's exactly what Meta is. You were correct. You were correct, my friend. That's exactly what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're getting close to. I just wanted to bring these things up. I don't want anybody to feel like this holographic thing is something to be concerned about. All right? I think it's going to do a lot of good for a lot of people. It's going to help a lot of people emotionally. It's going to be great entertainment at a scaled-down cost. I certainly, for entertainment purposes, am investing in it. So... yeah, it's going to be a great thing, and I hope I live to see it in its full development.
Okay, fair enough. So what do you think about the Elizabeth thing? Did this sort of strike you as some sort of bizarre ritual, or you think this is just come on, Mike, get off it? It's nothing like that. What's your thought on that?
I think it's an opening salvo to the world. All right, this is coming, and you won't know. You won't know whether the politician that's standing in front of you and addressing you on is real or he's a hologram. All right, you won't. Let's say for example, Putin died. He had a heart attack or he died of cancer, or whatever. All right, and of course they wouldn't tell you anything about it. But here comes Putin, and he's a hologram, and you don't know it. And it's like he's still running the government. You see what I'm coming from? Boy, I'm coming up with some good stories. I'm going to have to write these notes down.
No, that's exactly what I'm getting at. So let's say, and that was part of the conspiracy theory this weekend, is when the people first saw Queen Elizabeth II in that carriage. The conspiracy was she had passed away, and they were trying to fake that she was still there. Quote ruling. I mean, let's be real.
Has she appeared since?
Yeah, so she was. She did show up on the balcony. So that's what I read. I didn't watch it because you know me, I don't watch that crap. But and I don't believe in any queen or king, etc. But yeah, she did show up.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think it was before? I mean, they didn't do that just for entertainment purposes. There's got to be something, I don't know, either benign or sinister behind the whole thing, but they were trying to send an idea forward. That's the way I see it. They wanted to somehow, and announce this in advance, some kind of technology that, I don't know. I'm just saying, I don't think that was done strictly for sentimental or entertainment purposes. There is a much more serious point to it.
Right, which is sort of what I'm saying. So I'm looking at it in terms of some sort of ritual. So what were they up to? And I'll continue to make the case tonight because I got some interesting stuff that I think maybe traces back to Cheops and Khufu, like I was saying. But yeah, so what do you know about the royal family and the rest of that? Anything else to add?
What do I know about what?
The royal family. And do you think there is a lot of conspiracy happening with that? I mean, we saw some Jeffrey Epstein connections and some other ridiculous stuff with Prince Andrew. What do you know about them, and what's your overall take?
I think that Queen Elizabeth is the last monarch, even in name only. I think she's the last. I don't think Charles is going to ascend to the throne. I think that whole thing's finally coming to an end, and a lot of it has to do with what's happening globally now. People have just had enough of it. I think that's coming to an end. But I also think that bloodline goes all the way back a couple thousand years, and it's possible that that bloodline's always been in control of the world.
I didn't actually trace that back, but if anybody's familiar with that idea, please call, because I'd love to hear where that actually traces back to, because I'm taking it all the way back to the magic, the first magician in history. That's where I'm going to take this back to. We're running out of time, Robert. What else you got? I got about a minute and a half for you.
Okay, thank you. I'll talk to you later. I'll sit back and listen to the show. The price is right.
All right, the price is right. I appreciate it, Robert. Thanks for the call. Thanks for listening, bro. He was saying over on Rockfin that he was listening to The Price is Right, which is why he was late getting here. So the price is right. All right, so good stuff from Robert there. And if you see, I got some articles here where they're talking about exactly what he described, right? This is from ZocalPublicSquare.org. And the headline is, Will Holograms Help Us Grieve? Talking about digital immortality. And, Robert's kind of high on the technology. He thinks that it's going to be a good thing, and he says he's going to invest in it himself. That's not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. But look, it got me thinking in terms of, okay, so if they wanted to fake Queen Elizabeth being alive, how long could they get away with this? All right. And again, I'm not saying that she has passed away or anything to this effect. All right. I'm not saying this. But I'm saying if they wanted to, how long could they keep the charade going? All right. That's another question to add tonight. And I'll continue weaving in all the way back to Cheops. And not only, of course, that would be the builder of the Great Pyramid, but some magic in his court is where we're headed tonight. So I was digging and I found some stuff and was like, holy smokes, I wonder if this actually tracks. So we're talking digital immortality tonight, okay? We had this hologram with Queen Elizabeth II and the Platinum Jubilee. Her anniversary of her coronation is 70 years, 1953. Holy smokes. There you go. Math is better this time. 1953. But in the gold chariot, or some chariot, not chariot, in the gold carriage, and it's not actually solid gold. Thank you, Jennifer, added in the chat there that it's made of wood and gilded, so it's painted gold and got some gold on it. But they put a hologram of Queen Elizabeth II as she appeared in 1953. So it was a time travel situation as well. So I don't know. What do you think? Was this some bizarre ritual? And I'm going to get to the rest of this and my take on how this traces all the way back to ancient Egypt. So hang tight for that. I know it's a little bit of a longer narrative than I'm used to doing, but let me weave this in, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. What do you know about the royal family? What do you know about this ritual? Do you think it's a ritual, or do you think it was simply entertainment? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. More hologram immortality and ancient ritual magic, which we'll get to coming up when we return. Be right back. Don't go anywhere. We are talking about the alien abduction phenomenon. Aliens.
The aliens are looking through your eyes and they're accessing your optic nerve. I'm doing fantastic. And through that optic nerve, they're transferring to your brain. People are random images as they traverse neurons in the brain.
All right, so maybe,
and they also feel them planting or receiving memories or ideas or images.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. What's going on, guys? It's Wednesday night, which is one of the nights we get together and talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. Those things are aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. Ah, yes. Tonight, we're talking about the Platinum Jubilee, which, of course, was the anniversary of the 70th coronation, 70-year coronation anniversary of Queen Elizabeth II. Now, I couldn't help but notice she was a hologram in a carriage. Well, the carriage was not solid gold, as reported by the knucklehead media over here. The Rivers corrected us. It's not a gold carriage, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Does it change the ritual connotation of what the hell was actually going on? Because they put Queen Elizabeth II in the carriage in the Platinum Jubilee, the 70th anniversary of her coronation, as a hologram. That's right. She was a hologram inside the carriage. What the hell's going on here, right? So maybe, you know, clearly and obviously she just might be too old to hop into the carriage, right? Hey, you know, it happens. It happens to the best of us. So I don't, like I said, I don't like getting on old people because, hey, we're all locked into our own time space, and I don't like getting on old people, right? Because I feel old myself, right? I say it, I'm an old man. People say in the chat, Mike, you're not old. I'm like, oh yeah? I feel my back when I wake up in the morning. Sometimes I feel pretty damn old. But look, the thing is, old is relative, all right? And if we're talking about the Queen of England, well, whatever her actual title happens to be, I saw that, Jennifer, in the chat. Thank you for the actual title, whatever the hell that means. I'm not into kings and queens myself. But the question becomes, right, let's say, is there some sort of ritual something to being a king and queen of England? Is like, why do they still have them? Because they're not really anything. They don't like legislate, or they don't, right? No lawmaking, or no any of this, right? They're just sort of these weird figureheads of what? Of like a relic of an ancient time is basically what they are, right? Oh, and by the way, they're rich as hell. They are rich as hell, all right? So there's that too. So I don't know. I mean, I was watching, not watching, I didn't watch it, because I stab my eyeballs with some forks, but if I'm watching this crap. But again, I was looking at the news coverage, and they had, yeah, for sure, the Queen's hologram in a carriage, right? There it is. Links are in the description if you guys want to check it out. All my links, as always, as part of the transparency of this process, I want you to see what I'm seeing. And if the reporting's bunk or false, or, halfway between here and there, fine, I get it. But the question's tied to this, right? Is this some sort of ritual going on with the 70-year anniversary of her coronation, and some sort of a hologram happening in a gilded gold carriage? It's not gold as the real gold, right? Not that gold, but kind of gold colored, we'll say. But what's going on with this? We're talking about not just sort of a ritual, but what about the idea of holographic or hologram immortality? How does this work? And I just want to know, what are your thoughts on this? What do you know about the royal family? And I'm going to get to the rest of my story as we go, and how this maybe traces back to some bizarre immortality ritual in ancient Egypt. So, love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Let's go to the phones. Hang tight, Matt, in Colorado. I see you there. I'll get to you in just a sec. You're on Troubled Minds on the phones. What's your first name? Where are you calling from? Test 1 2. You're on Troubled Minds. Are you there? You're up. Test 1 2 on the phones.
Well,
Troubled Minds. Are you there?
I came back in the room. So.
Wait, what? Say again?
Hello?
You're on Troubled Minds.
Oh, I just was out of the room then. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like the hologram. Why would she need to do that if it's just they live forever and drink the tomato soup or the it looks, those dresses and stuff she wears are pretty cool. They look kind of funky. They're kind of like, yeah, they're...
Okay, do me a favor. This is Aaron in Maine, right?
Yeah.
Okay, speak up, please. Speak up. It's really difficult to hear you. Just please speak directly into the phone. What are your thoughts? What do you know about the royal family? What about the dress? Explain, please.
Yeah. Oh, did you hear any of that?
Not really.
Hear any of that?
Not really. Like I said, please speak up. Please speak up for us.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, like the optic nerve, it's like, how do they fool you that way with a hologram? Is it like a clone hologram, or is it like a reptilian? Like, that'd be cool if it was like, because I don't care about the dresses. They look kind of cool. They're like green and flashy. They're just, every time she wears them, they look pretty cool to me. But they are, yeah, how would she, I mean, if you need to use a hologram, I thought they just live forever and they drink the tomato soup.
Wait, explain the tomato soup to me. What do you mean? Is there like a magic tomato soup? What's going on with this? I've never heard of the tomato soup.
Campbell's, yeah, it's magic.
Okay.
No. But some really weird things, like, I think it looks cool. I mean, what is a hologram? How does that work? Is it like a hologram clone? Or is it because they're doing it through the optic nerve? And it's like it looks just really vibrant. And I've had weird experiences, like even with police. Like I've had them pull up and then just want to talk to me. And I just get this feeling that is like, I don't get it with anyone else. And I don't know, they wear sunglasses and you can't even see them. It's like, what the heck is that? They're being used as vessels to harass people. I don't get it, but that's not, I don't know how, this world is not as it seems if this stuff exists, because it's just all energy. So how does that even happen? Can anybody do this and just, I mean, there are people that live longer and they're just healthy and they're doing their own thing. They have the right environment and they're adapted to it in a good way. So are they helping people with what they have, or are they being greedy with it? And it's weird to even think about how it's being used if they do have that technology.
Yeah, that's
like,
for sure.
Are they putting people in fear?
Yeah. Okay.
Are they doing? Yeah.
I don't think so. Look. This is kind of a low tech hologram they used. It was sort of like not even a 3D. It was a 2D hologram, but it's more of like the basis for like an ongoing conversation about what digital immortality might look like. And so the question was, do you think they're so this wasn't, nobody was supposed to actually believe Elizabeth II had time traveled and was young again. Okay, so nobody believed that, but there was some conspiracy theory going around during the weekend that she had passed away and they were trying to maybe replace her with these holographic images, not just in terms of the Platinum Jubilee and the ceremony, but then on top of that, maybe going forward as well, because she's 96 years old. She's literally, as of this moment, she's 96.
Okay. See, I thought you were talking about she's just a file hologram.
No. I'm not sure. Like I said, the conspiracies are everywhere, but not everything is a conspiracy.
They
okay?
did that with that other guy. Okay. Yeah. They've been doing that a lot lately with different events and stuff. I don't know. What was that other one where they did it? Michael Jackson?
Yep. Tupac, Michael Jackson. They did Buddy Holly. They've done Roy Orbison. Yes, there's a whole lot of these that they've recreated these images of. Yep.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
That would be cool.
It's strange to think about how that can be used to manipulate at some point.
Yeah, I don't know.
UFOs.
Yeah, well, I think that's where this leads to is what's the next step? Like, if you can perform on stage with these nice speakers and put Michael Jackson, who's passed away, back on stage, or Tupac, or whoever, Roy Orbison, whatever, what's the next step? If we can become immortal in a digital manner, is this what that next step becomes? That's all. That was the question. That's the conversation. So I appreciate it, man. What else you got for us?
Immortal. Yeah, being immortal and just doing... I mean, that'd be cool, but how are you gonna... A lot of people don't think, it's like, do you really want to be on Earth that long? That's probably a bad option to become immortal, because you're gonna have to endure a lot of things. Just to live more than even 200 years, you probably would.
Yeah.
People don't think about how death is really something that's... It's just transformative. But
Which is a good point, but that's a whole other conversation, my friend. That's a whole other conversation. So what is your take? If you got to give us a prediction on when we could actually become a living hologram, you think that's 50 years? You think that's now? You think that's 200 years from now? What would be your prediction there?
Yeah, that'd be hard to do. Like as a clone, or are you talking about just they're doing it? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how maybe they already have it and they're just not letting us know or something. There's people that do weird things, and it's like, why are they doing it? Are they under mind control? What's going on with that? I don't know. They're a hologram. It's probably already here.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Already here. Aaron in Maine, right? Am I correct? This is Aaron in Maine.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I got the right guy. Look, thank you for calling. Thanks for your take on this. I appreciate you listening and appreciate you participating.
Okay. Yeah.
Have a fantastic night, okay?
Have a good one.
Thanks a lot, you too. 702-957-1037. That's Aaron in Maine, old friend of the show. Thanks for the phone call. We're talking about hologram immortality. And, of course, the Platinum Jubilee, this ceremony that happened over the weekend, the 70th anniversary of the coronation of Elizabeth II. But, of course, in a gold-gilded carriage, they spotted her as, well, her 1953 self in a holographic form. What the hell do you think is going on here? Is this just entertainment? As Robert said, probably not. Or do you think there's some bizarre ritual happening? Love to hear your thoughts. Let's go to Matt in Colorado. What's up, brother? Are you there? Test 1 2. Test. Discord. Nope. This is the thing. So Discord updated tonight. I actually updated Discord tonight. So if you're not running the most updated version of Discord, you might have problems. So Matt, if you can't hear me, can you hear me, Matt? Test 1 2. Type in the chat maybe if you can hear me or not. Maybe you can't hear me. Test 1 2. Okay, we're gonna have to reset or call in on the phone line, and that'll get it fixed. Okay, so let me keep on trucking here. Looking to hear your thoughts on this. 702-957-1037. Look, now, like I said, we started with this idea of a hologram. Okay, not just a hologram. This was a 2D hologram again from the Platinum Jubilee over the weekend with the Queen and the coronation, or the anniversary of the coronation. Okay, let me get my terms straight. Then I started looking and lead you down the rabbit hole that I followed, and we've got this thing called Kioptics 360. This is the technology they use to actually put Tupac on stage, or Michael Jackson, or the rest of this. And it's a thing. The Kioptics 360 displays revolving involving 3D animations or special video sequences inside a 4-sided transparent pyramid. And I was like, what the? Are you kidding me? No way. So Cheops, of course, is Khufu. It's the Greek name for Khufu, which Khufu is the pharaoh that was renowned for building the Great Pyramid, the greatest of the ancient wonders of the world, and the only one still standing. Okay, so there we go. That's what led me down. And not only that, it's inside a 4-sided transparent pyramid. So maybe that's why they actually did this. But then it got me thinking. Okay, wait. I wonder if there's some actual ritual magic happening with Cheops or Khufu regarding immortality. What do? I go look, and of course, they say, as you guys know this, regarding the actual Great Pyramid itself, they say that it was a tomb, but then they say that it wasn't a tomb because they never found Cheops in there or Khufu in the you know what I mean? There's like a whole lot of the debate going on about that. Well, if it's a tomb, where are the bodies? Where's the sarcophagus? Where's all the rest of that? So I'm going to leave that out of this because that's a conversation for another day. But I started digging and thought, okay, look, maybe there's something to maybe a resurrection ritual with Cheops or Khufu, okay? And wouldn't you know it, they don't know a ton about the ancient pharaoh Khufu, other than so they got some hieroglyphs regarding specific things. The work crews that kind of did some graffiti inside the pyramid. I was reading a little bit about that and all the rest of that. Yeah, what's up? Jennifer says, I'm still going to call it a golden carriage, though, because it's very gold. It's gold colored, that's for sure. So we can call it a golden carriage. Yeah, maybe not solid gold. Knucklehead U.S. press. We'll give them that. But okay, so look. So it got me thinking, all right, maybe is this a link between sort of a ritual situation with a resurrection ritual? But in this term, right, it's holographic because we're talking about holograms. We're talking about Elizabeth II, age 96. The conspiracy theory over the weekend, and she's actually passed away, and they're just putting holograms in front of her eyes and all the rest of this. And then I thought, okay, wait, maybe it's a link here. Cheoptics 360, okay? Now look, this gets even more weird because, wouldn't you know it, I did find there's not a lot on actual Khufu or Cheops himself as a pharaoh, but there is a particular story about a magician in his court. All right, and this is where I was like, wait, what? Okay, so there is a story in the book. I'm going to check this out. I'm going to put this up on the screen. Links are in the description. And let's see, we want Cheoptics. We're talking about rituals to bring back the dead. And there's actually a magician in the court of Cheops himself, or Khufu, and this is the first magician on record, as far as I can tell, in antiquity. The first magician, all right? The first magician, all right? Look, his name is Dedi. D-J-E-D-I, or Dedi, D-E-D-I, right? It depends on the source. But notably, I found this and was like, wait, what? D-J-E-D-I. It sounds awful lot, or spells an awful lot like Jedi. I was like, I wonder if this was ripped off by George Lucas and company, right? Okay, now look, this is the craziest part about all this, because I traced this back and was like, okay, what do we know about Cheops, the Greek name for, again, Khufu, the builder of the Great Pyramid, okay? We don't know a lot, but there's this Westcar papyrus, all right, that they did find. And here's the thing. There's a ancient sorcerer or magician by the name of Dedi, D-E-D-I or D-J-E-D-I, Jedi, right? Okay, depending on how you say it, right? And so it's right here, and you guys can find this. I'm going to link it if you want to read the full story. But it turns out, wouldn't you know it, in kind of digging a little bit here, that yes, indeed, one of the few stories we have about Cheops or Khufu himself is a court story regarding a magician that performs a resurrection ritual. And I was like, no, really? Like, how? Like, that was my first thought. I wonder if there's anything regarding this particular pharaoh and a resurrection ritual, right? Because again, remember the train of thought. I was like, okay, We got not just a hologram, the conspiracy theory about the Queen Elizabeth II at the Platinum Jubilee over the weekend, and the conspiracy that she was passed away. And they're trying to tell us that she's not with these fake holograms and all the rest of this, even suggesting that when she came out onto the balcony and waved to everybody or whatever, that was a 3D hologram. And it was just a foreshadowing based on the carriage and her inside of it with the hologram itself. I don't know if I buy that. Okay, but it got me thinking in terms of digital and hologram immortality, okay? That's the first thing. That's where we head. Then again, like I said, I went to Tupac, I went to Roy Orbison, I went to Michael Jackson, and some of these performers, I'm like, okay, in digital immortality in modern times, that's the type of thing that we see probably the most. We see performers, okay? And so I was like, I wonder what that thing is called, that the device, right? Like I said, it was so weird how it just kind of was like one thing, then the next thing, then the next thing, the next thing. Remember, the device is called Cheoptics 360. That's right, Cheops, pyramid-shaped, of course. So then I go a little further back, and I'm like, okay, give us some Cheops information, and what do I get? This court magician, the very first court magician, as far as I can tell, and I'll tell you why I say that, but ancient magic from the dawn of time. Right? Literally going back to a little C.S. Lewis, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, right? This is what we're talking about. Some court magic, some resurrection rituals that actually happened, supposedly, according to the Westcar Papyrus, written and conducted resurrection rituals in front of, wouldn't you know it, Cheops himself. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, is it that simple sometimes? Maybe it's not. Maybe it is. You tell me. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I'll tell you the story about Dedi or Jedi, depending on how you spell it, D-E-D-I or D-J-E-D-I, again, peculiarly close to Jedi. But this gets even more weird because the resurrection rituals they were performing may be more peculiar than you think. Love to hear your thoughts on this as we go. And what do you think? Again, the questions are open to all of it. What do you think about the holograms and hologram immortality? What do you think about the idea of, I don't know, maybe a ritual connection to modern UK Platinum Jubilee and the 70th anniversary of the coronation of Elizabeth II, and maybe tracing it all the way back to Cheops or Khufu the Great? You tell me. Love to hear your thoughts. Is it too far of a stretch, Michael Strange? Damn it, Michael Strange, now you've done it? Or is it something else entirely? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. I don't know. Like I said, it was weird when sometimes, I follow many threads to kind of find something that seems to fit. And tonight it was like one thing to the next thing to the next thing to the next thing. And I was like, wow, that was really easy. Is there something to this, or am I just making stuff up? Love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. More hologram immortality and ancient ritual magic. We're going to get to that court magic and the actual immortality rituals when we return. Be right back. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we're streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, D-Live, and Twitter, and we're broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. Tonight, we're talking about the Queen of England. Oh, yes, the Platinum Jubilee. Over the weekend, we had the 70th anniversary of the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II. Now, she actually appeared in a gold-gilded carriage as a hologram of her 1953 self. Now, is this some bizarre ritual or just entertainment value? I'd love to hear your thoughts at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And as we go, I'll explain why I think there may be a ritual connection to immortality, except in a holographic way this time, to all the way back to ancient Egypt. Let's go to Matt in Colorado. You're on Troubled Minds. What's up, my friend? Go right ahead. How are you tonight?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Can you hear me all right?
Loud and clear. Go right ahead, sir.
All right, great. You know, in terms of the royal family, I'm going to put myself in your company, which it might be dangerous, but I'm an ignorant Yank too. I never really understood how it's always in their papers and in their news and why people are fascinated with the royal family. And like you said, they don't really have any legislative authority. They're not in part of the executive, etc. But you did bring up a point. They probably do have a whole heck of a lot of money. So there is the potential they're, maybe orchestrating things behind the scenes in a way we don't see or know. But, I don't know too much about that. In terms of the platinum Jubilee celebration thing, like you said, if you're really get into conspiracies a ton and you let your mind go there, you can see a conspiracy everywhere, even when there's not one, right? It's sort of like the old saying, if you're a hammer, you see every problem as a nail, So, yeah, like you said, a little word of caution to people. There's not necessarily a conspiracy everywhere. I see it, as really more sort of just like a harmless tribute that they were flashing back to her coronation, so they wanted to show her when she was younger. I see it as kind of entertainment and a throwback to that. There could have been some age things, but hey, if she could make it to the balcony, they probably could have gotten her, lifted up into the carriage. But maybe not. I don't know. That's conjecture. But was there some sort of message or symbolism or ritual going on with that? If there is, I don't know what it was. I don't know enough about that sort of stuff to be able to interpret that. And, there's people that probably could go down that rabbit hole and maybe come up with something, maybe make up something, maybe come up with nothing. I don't know. But I'm a little more interested in the pyramid of Cheops, Khufu, right? And they do call it actually the pyramid of Cheops. But yeah, that's Greek for Khufu. And yeah, like you said, it's interesting. There's a ton of theories on the Great Pyramid. Was it a burial chamber? Whatever. I don't think it was, from all I can see. And I've studied Egyptology quite a bit, actually. I've been fascinated with my whole life. I watched a lot of documentaries on it and read a lot of books on it, and fascinating culture and a lot of mysteries there. But even if he wasn't buried in the pyramid, they're still discovering, underground places and tunnels, and he could have been buried somewhere else. And that was common back then. They would hide, the burial places and the mummies, because grave robbing was a big thing, because they put in tons of gold and statues and everything. And even back then they had grave robbers, not to mention in current times how many of those have been broken into and looted. So, but the interesting thing about the resurrection and about the Egyptian culture is they were all about the afterlife. I mean, that was like a singular focus of the entire culture. And I was watching this documentary one time, so they'd have these scrolls that you had to like hire a guy to write for you, and they were like your death scroll that would help send you into the afterlife and help you be reborn. And even like basically a middle class person would have these made for them. So it wasn't just the kings and stuff. It was prevalent in their entire culture. And these things weren't cheap. You know, you would have to like save your money for like 5 years or 8 years, and then, you know, some are more elaborate and whatever. So however much money you had, you could buy yourself a better place in the afterlife and have a better chance of resurrection. But, you know, with the pharaohs, that's a big part of why they put all the power objects and things from their life and had themselves mummified in the tombs with them, was because they absolutely believed they would be resurrected, right? And so it would make sense that Khufu would have a guy, the magician Jedi. First thing I thought of when you spelled the name was, you know, it's the Jedi Knights. And so it would make total sense that he would have a magician in his court whose job it was to be like, okay, Khufu, I'm going to resurrect you. I'm going to bring you back from the dead. You know, I got the know-hows. I'll write the scrolls. I'll perform the rituals, etc. And it is a weird coincidence about the four-sided pyramid and the holograms. And certainly, you know, I do math. And when you look at the Great Pyramid, there's weird things. Like if you calculate the altitude into the base, you divide it in there, you can get the ratio of pi accurate to like 7 digits. You can use the measurements of it to calculate the circumference of the Earth within like 7 miles, the distance to the sun. There's all this mathematics built into it, which brings in this like sacred geometry and astrological stuff and the planet stuff. And maybe they were tapping into those kind of energies and astrology and that sort of thing in order to give the power and the energy for the resurrection, right?
You're correct. You're spot on with a lot of that stuff. We've talked about this in the past often because I'm also fascinated with ancient Egypt, and that and you're literally speaking my language in terms of that the pharaohs were super into resurrection ritual, and the whole thing of mummification was literally just one step from life to death, and the Egyptian Book of the Dead inscribed on the walls, and the papyrus rolled up, and pulling out their guts basically and putting them in canopic jars. I mean, there's a whole lot of this, and literally all of it was built and pointed toward the afterlife. And this is why this got bizarre. And let me explain to you, Matt. Because of course they haven't found the body of Khufu, because they say that mainstream Egyptology says that he was buried in a pyramid and it was looted long ago. That's what they say. Okay, but again, it doesn't appear that way. It seems suspicious as well. Maybe he was buried elsewhere. So I didn't expect to find a lot regarding Khufu or Cheops and a resurrection ritual, because they never found his body, his corpse, his mummy, right? But when I started looking, there were stories about this particular, again, Dedi or Jedi, and like you said, it very much like Jedi. And not only that, you want another sync that seems super weird here, is remember in Star Wars, we had a hologram of, you guessed it, Princess Leia, speaking
right.
to the only
Jedi.
Jedi.
About that earlier when we were talking about holograms, and Princess Leia comes out and speaks. I pictured that same thing. Go ahead.
As a hologram, speaking to the only Jedi left, which was Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. I don't know. Like when I was reading this, I started to get a little bit of chills. I was like, oh no, I can't. We're radio style yet, but I was like, "Oh snap! Like, what is this? Maybe there is something to this." So I'm going to tell the story about Dedi or Jedi, as his name is known. Depends on the spelling. And this is from some actual scrolls based on some ritual magic that happened in the court of Cheops. I'll tell that story in just a little bit as we finish up here. But so, what's your take on the royal family? So you don't think this was a ritual sort of thing? Do you think this was just a celebration?
Yeah, if it was a ritual, I can't identify it, and I'm not that much in it. You know, knowing those kind of guys, there probably was something like that in there. But I think it was more like coincidence, and they thought, oh, it'd be cool to show her as she was during her coronation, and this would make a sort of a fitting 70-year tribute. I don't read too much into it, but one quick thing I'll say related to the resurrection. I thought of this. I'd never read it anywhere, but years ago I thought about this. You know, we have Tutankhamun's mummy, right? And you know, we're getting pretty advanced with the cloning technology. You know, and we've partially cloned humans. They do a lot with the animals, etc. And boy, it is. And you look at Jurassic Park. It is not too far of a leap to think they could take a big chunk of the DNA from King Tut, from his mummy, and clone him, right? And if they cloned him, right, and a person grew up, he literally would be resurrected from the dead and come back to life thousands of years in the future, which is exactly what he believed, right? Like, how trippy would that be if, like, King Tut actually walked, or at least his genetic clone walked the earth again? And then you have to wonder, is like, if you cloned him, would his soul, would his spirit of the actual guy come and re-inhabit the clone, right? Wow.
Yeah, wow. And again, so all right. So we've talked about that in the past. So just real quick to kind of round that out, and I got to finish telling the story to make sure we get the full story for the radio guys. So I'm going to cut you off after this, okay? But to tell that full story in the circle there, is that's exactly, it seems that's exactly why they mummified and made sure that their DNA lasted as long as possible. So one day they would be able to be resurrected in the flesh, in the DNA flesh, and maybe there are ancient spells to actually reunite the flesh and the spirit. I don't know. We'll talk about that more in the third hour. Okay, Matt, you're the best brother. I appreciate the call. I'm going to cut you off right here because I got a little bit more to get to, and you're welcome to call back in the third hour, okay?
Okay, no problem, bro. Talk to you later.
Appreciate it, brother. That's Matt in Colorado, good friend of mine, good friend of the show's. Always hot stuff from him. Look, all right. So again, follow me. I'm gonna smash the rest of this. We're still taking your calls if you want to be part of the discussion. 702-957-1037. But let me smash through this. It went like this. I was like, okay, the Queen, the virtual carriage ride, gold carriage. Not real gold, fine. Gold gilded, whatever. Fine, whatever. Okay, that's that. And I was like, okay, we're talking about sort of this conspiracy theory about the Queen of England, the Elizabeth II, and the coronation, the 70th anniversary of her coronation, called the Platinum Jubilee. Bernays Sauce in the chat said platinum, interestingly, is one of those alchemical things that were highly sought for a long time and are still highly sought. Anyway, what's up? I see there, Bernays Sauce. Okay, so add that to this weirdness, okay? Now, inside the carriage was a hologram of not just Queen Elizabeth II, but from 1953. So it was kind of like a time travel hologram, all right? So it got me thinking in terms of, okay, so what kind of bizarre ritual is going on here? I don't know. This is not my expertise, but it definitely made my spider sense tingle, let's say, okay? So then I was like, all right, so I thought of Roy Orbison, Michael Jackson, Tupac, how they brought them back to life, quote, to life on stage, performing in a 3D holographic aspect. I looked into what that technology is. There's a device called the Cheoptics 360. All right. Cheoptics 360 led me to Cheops because, of course, it seems like that's what they named it on. And this is the weird part. The Cheoptics 360 displays revolving 3D animations or special video sequences inside a four-sided transparent pyramid. I was like, okay, now, all right. So randomly, I came across this. Then I was like, okay, so let's go back and see if there's a connection here, right? A ritual connection to holograms and immortality somehow, some way, based on the name Cheops. Again, Cheops is the Greek word for Khufu, which built the Great Pyramid in Egypt. Okay, you follow me? This is where we got. Now, it led me to, because of course, like I was just discussing with Matt, the Khufu himself, they haven't found his mummy because they said it was looted a long time ago from the Great Pyramid. All right, many people refute that and say, no, there was no body there. There's no sarcophagus. Didn't seem to be anything that regarding the hieroglyphs and all the rest of that there was a body there. All right, it seemed like it was more of a monument to the person more of a, right, wonder of the ancient world type of thing, right? Which we're still talking about, so clearly they did something right. But okay, so it got me thinking in terms of that. But it led me back to this one particular sorcerer, magician. He was not actually a court magician, but this actually happened in the court of Cheops himself, or Khufu of the Great Pyramid fame. All right, listen to this. This is wild. This is a Dedi. Dedi is his name, right? D-E-D-I, Dedi is how you pronounce it. There's all kinds of information about this guy. I'm going to read just a little bit of this, right? Actually, I'm not going to do that. That's going to bore you to tears. I'm going to give you the recounting of what this actually was, because I read like 5 different stories about this. Now the son of Cheops actually invited this Dedi into the court because there was a rumor specifically that ancient magic of old was no longer alive in the world. And this was, we're talking what, the 24th dynasty, or I don't even know. This was like thousands of years ago, and they're talking about ancient magic then, how it no longer resides in the world, right? However, there was rumor of an individual by the name of Dedi. And here we go. This is straight from, I'm going to go from Wikipedia here. And Dedi appears only in the 4th story of the Westcar Papyrus. They say there is no archaeological or historical evidence that he existed. Nevertheless, he is an object of great interest for historians and Egyptologists, since his magic tricks are connected to later cultural perceptions of the personality of King Khufu. Dedi, or Jedi, is described as a commoner of extraordinary age, endowed with magical powers and talented in making prophecies. All right. And so he was renowned because they said he ate or he drank. This is the best part. He ate like a whole side of a cow every day and drank 100 jars of beer. Right. Like he was this type of guy. He was just super famous for all of his ability to do things that normal humans could not do. But he was also a prophet. He was also a seer. He was also alleged to have the ability to bring the dead back to life. Okay, now, and this is where I was like, oh crap, how did we get here? Because I didn't expect to find the typical Egyptian stuff with this, in terms of, like Matt said, and I don't mean disrespect to Matt, because I just mean that they didn't find the body of Khufu. All right, it's still scientifically, as far as we're aware, anthropology, etc., nobody knows where the body of Khufu is. Okay, the Cheops, the rest of that. Okay, and so I didn't expect to find any information regarding any sort of resurrection ritual in the name Cheops. Okay, but it turns out that this Dedi dude, was exactly performing resurrection rituals in the court of Cheops himself, brought in by his son by describing ancient ritual magic and saying that even in that time it was dead to the world, and there was nobody that knew how to do this, except there was a rumor of an individual that lived not too far away in some distant city. All the information is there, links in the description. You guys can check this out. Follow up on me. I'm not making this up, right? And so Cheops himself told his son, go find this magician and bring his ass back here. I want to talk to this dude. Can he really bring people back from the dead? All right. And so his son goes, he finds Dedi, brings him back, confirms it's the guy. He's eating more than 20 humans a day. He's drinking 100 jars of beer. There's a whole bunch of interesting information about the legend of Dedi. All right. But then they bring him back to the court of Cheops, the court of Khufu the Great. And Khufu says to him, look, can you do this? Can you actually bring something back from the dead? All right. And Dedi says, yes, I can. And so he's famous, or infamous in the time, for bringing back entities, let's say animals, wink, wink, give me a sec here, of decapitated animals, and being able to merge the two dead parts back together through magic ritual and have them become whole again. All right. Now, you see what I'm saying. If we're talking about a hologram and we're talking about an actual passed away person, you see there are a two, let's say, I don't know, two parts to this. All right. And so we're talking about a digital decapitation. All right. You see what I'm saying here? Now, if one part dies and you can bring both back together again, very much like Dedi did in the court of Cheops, listen to this. This is the story. Cheops comes to the court, Dedi comes to the court. Cheops tells him, the great pharaoh of Egypt, says, hey, look, let's do this. I've got a prisoner that's condemned. Let's bring this dude out here. Let's chop his head off, and you put him back together again. All right? And you know what Dedi tells him? And I'm paraphrasing here. It's all links in the description. The stories are all there. It's all in the literature, okay? I'm not totally making this up. Dedi says to him, we cannot do that. There are rules. We cannot bring back from the flock, I believe he said, something to the effect of talking about people. And so he said, we can do animals, but we cannot do people. It's like crossing the line. And it reminds me of that Doctor Strange bit, right? If you guys have seen that movie, I'm not going to spoil it, but right? Anyway, so here's the thing. He says, bring me a goose, bring me, let's say, I think an ibis is the bird. It's an unidentified bird, and bring me a hog. They bring him out. They cut the heads off of these animals, and Dedi merges these animals back together through ritual chanting and meditation, and these animals become alive again. And they stand up, shake the blood off of them, and they walk out of the court. Right? And so I'm like, wait, it seems so bizarre to me that we're talking in again, the duality of decapitation. Digital decapitation, right? If you die and you have part of your consciousness left. Like, look, I'm not going to say it. I do a lot of digital work. You see me a lot, right? But let's say 100 years from now, right? Can you go back and say, what was Michael Strange like? Was this really the guy? Was this not the guy? It's sort of a decapitation of yourself, your body, and your psyche, but in digital terms. You see what I'm saying? So it made me wonder, like, was I onto something, or was I just wishing I was smoking some of that devil's lettuce, if you know what I mean? So I don't know. Like, that's the way this story goes. We'll get into more of the details as we go into the third hour here if we don't get calls. I got lots of stuff to read. I'm super hyped up about this because, like I said, it was a very easy transition of one thing to the next thing to the next thing to the next thing, and I found them very easily. Doesn't usually happen when I'm putting a show together, and that's why in this term I'm a little bit hyped up, like, whoa, is this related, or is this just Michael Strange pulling some strings and making some BS up? I don't know. You guys tell me. I don't have answers here. You know me, I'm not the answers guy. But I did kind of stumble into this, not expecting to stumble into this, and having this narrative sort of make itself available to me, if you know what I'm saying. So I don't know. Do we go from the Queen of England to the Court of Cheops? I'm going to say maybe. I'm going to say maybe not too. But it doesn't matter what I think. As usual, it only matters what you think. So as we wind up here and finish, I hope you had a good time. I hope you learned something you didn't know. Oh, by the way, real quick, this Dedi is actually inducted into the from Magicpedia. There's a Genie magazine. Dedi of Ancient Egypt was the first induction into the Magician's Hall of Fame. The Magician's Hall of Fame, 2500 BC. Dedi of Ancient Egypt. He was the first magician on record. I'm just saying, ancient magic from the dawn of time. There you go. All right, as we finish, it goes like this. Oh, yeah. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for being part of this. If you're listening to us on the Fringe FM, stay tuned for Joe Roop Lighting the Void. If you're listening to us on any other platform, including the podcast feed, stay tuned for a third hour of Troubled Minds. And, of course, be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night. All right, Off the Fringe, third hour Trouble Minds coming up. Looking to hear from you. I don't know, right? Is it too much of a stretch? It amazed me, to be honest, because I didn't expect to find the things I was looking for, because it doesn't always work like that. Like I said, it's one of those things where sometimes I spend some time putting things together to talk about a particular thing, right? And you guys help me a lot, and I appreciate that so much. And the thing is this. Tonight, it was like one thing, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. And like in 45 minutes, I was like, holy shit, can this be real? I don't know. Like it was a quick sync, let's say. It was a quick sync of like, the Queen Elizabeth II to Cheops he wasn't a court magician, by the way. He was they invited him in. But anyway, so links in the description below. You guys can read up on all this stuff and see that I'm not making shit up. It is a more complicated story than I said because I only had so much time. I had to kind of shoehorn it in there. But, well, you tell me. Do you think there's something to this? Do you think that, I don't know, if you believe in things happening for a reason, as research goes or ideas go, like things can kind of come together super quick like that, when especially I don't even know a ton about the history regarding Dedi. I've never heard of this guy. I've never heard of the magician, which again turns out to be, if you go back to ancient ritual magic, the first name that comes up, as far as I can tell, again, according to the Genie magazine and the magicians elected to the SAM Hall of Fame, the very first one, of course, is Dedi of ancient Egypt, 2500 BC. I'm going to put it up on the screen. You guys can see what I'm talking about. Then Xenophon of ancient Athens, that's 300 BC, right? Heron of Alexandria. There's a huge list, right? There's a huge list here. They got who else do they have? Isaac Fox. They got Christopher Pinchbeck. There's so many people in here. Like, look, scroll. Like, there's a shit ton of names. But the very first name is Dedi of ancient Egypt, 2500 BC. Never heard of the guy till tonight. And, well, shit. Is it a coincidence? And I guess that's the thing, right? Do you believe things happen by coincidence? Or do you think things happen for a reason? And that's all I want to know. We can go back to the science thing and looking to hear your thoughts on this. And we're going to take a quick 2-minute break. And more Trouble Minds coming up. So the questions persist. Number one, right? More importantly, we can disconnect it from the ancient ritual magic and Dedi and Cheops if you want to do that. But what do you think about Queen Elizabeth II and the 70th anniversary, the Platinum Jubilee, in her gold-gilded carriage? You think it's a ritual thing? And I mean, not ritual in terms of just a party. Hey, a party's a ritual, right? Like you have a birthday, you have a party. That's kind of technically a ritual. I mean, do you think there's something more going on regarding ritual magic? And I think it's a fascinating conversation. You tell me. Love to hear your thoughts. Third hour's for you. If you guys are like, I'm going to check out, that's cool. I'll tell the full Cheops story with Dedi, and then I'm out. So there you go. Love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. I'm going to go get my dog, grab another maybe juice, take a 2-minute break. More Trouble Minds coming up. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Be right back. Let's smash the button, do the thing, and play the music, and be right back.
This is Michael Strange from
Shut Up, Michael Strange. Give me the music. All right, here we go. Be right back. Don't go anywhere. More Trouble Minds coming up. Whoa, boy. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We are streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Twitter, and we're doing our thing. We're talking about, ritual magic, right? And I think that's interesting when you talk about ritual magic and things like this. You got to think in terms of, I think, probably the long game, right? Because if we're talking about rituals today, let's say, and I don't know, maybe it's a stretch to link the Queen of England and Cheops, of the builder of the Great Pyramid. But I don't know. I think that the link would be ritual magic itself. And that's where the conversation comes in. That's what was fascinating to me. And not only that, like I said, why I was so jazzed up about this tonight and kind of a little bit of a mess telling the story is because it all came together so quickly and easily. I was like, what the fuck? How did we get here so fast? Like, I didn't expect it to just slide into all this other BS super quickly, but it did. So I don't know. Again, the weak link being the Cheops, the machine, the Cheops 360. But Cheoptic, I guess. Well, hold on. What's it called? Yeah, there we go. Cheoptics 360, right? And I was just like, weird. There's your connection. So how weird am I? How weird is this? You tell me. Love to hear your thoughts. Third hour's for you. 702-957-1037. Let me know. Let me know. Do you think that this whole thing with the Queen of England and the Platinum Jubilee was some sort of ritual magic? And again, some people have suggested that the bloodline of the, let's say, the King and Queen of England go back to the beginning, maybe, to to a powerful bloodline that's been, who knows, maybe back to ancient Egypt. I don't know. What's going on? What's going on, guys? What's up? There you go. Robert says, perhaps, let's see, it's Jenny didn't want to be responsible for the murder of a human being and used the excuse that animal resurrection could be done. Perhaps he was really a mesmerizer and just hypnotized the pharaoh and attendants into believing he put the dead animals back together and revived them. And that could be. That's Dedi, Jedi. And I don't know. Like I said, I found it pretty interesting that it was one of those things where we were like, okay, well, what's next, right? What's next? So you tell me, what do you think about this? Do you think this there's some sort of ritual going on with maybe a resurrection or, let's say, immortality ritual happening with this hologram and the Queen of England? Or am I just too much conspiracy, maybe juice for you, Mike? Because I'm open to that, too. Just kind of tossing the ideas out there and seeing if any of this sticks. And you know me, I'm not married to these ideas. So if you say, Mike, I think you're off base here, I'll be like, all right, that's fine. That's cool. I'll come back punching tomorrow. I don't really care. You know what I mean? Like, not like that. Not to the point where I'm like, I have to be right. My ego is so big, I have to be right. So anyway, what are your thoughts? I'm going to get to the story of Dedi himself, Jedi, as some have known. Again, D-J-E-D-I, very Jedi, if you ask me. And again, we got some syncs, right? We got the name D-J-E-D-I, Jedi. We've got holograms. We've got this Chioptics 360, which is the technology that they would use to bring Tupac or Michael Jackson back in not only that, a four-sided transparent pyramid, which is probably why they called it Chioptics, or named after Cheops. But then we have this Jedi, which brings us back to the sync of, well, I don't know, Princess Leia and the Jedi, and she was a hologram that she gave to R2-D2 to go find Obi-Wan Kenobi, her only hope, right? Like I said, is it loose association and damn it, Mike, too much maybe juice, or do you think there's something to this? You guys tell me. Just hanging out, doing a thing, drinking the maybe juice, and having a good time. So I think that's the end of the narrative. I think that kind of sews up. There's some details I could add in there. Another one too I want to add real quick. Robert mentioned this, and I thought about this as we were talking about not tonight, as we were talking about tonight, but also before the show started. Elvis, all right, Elvis in particular, right? There's like a cottage industry here in Las Vegas. If you guys know, I live in Vegas, and down in a lot of these wedding chapels, it's like, get married with Elvis, and they got the Elvis impersonators down there, and hey, nothing but a hound dog, and they're playing the guitar and all the rest of it, right? Blue suede shoes and whatever, right? Like, and you're down there getting married with, Elvis, but it's an Elvis impersonator, right? So what happened recently, if you guys don't know this, is the estate of Elvis Presley actually filed a cease and desist order to all the little church chapels out there in little chapels that were doing marriages in Vegas, and said you can no longer use the likeness of Elvis Presley, right? No longer. And so the Robert over on Rockfin mentioned this, and I thought about this as we were doing this tonight in terms of, again, some more weird syncs. This is in the news. Hold on. I'm going to check this out. I'm going to just search Elvis. I'm going to hit the news tab. Watch this. It's going to come up with this exact story. There it is. Yep. Let's see. Nope. We got Graceland, Elvis. Hold on. Let's see. Okay, Elvis. Sorry, still too many Elvis stuff. Elvis Las Vegas. Let's trim that down. All right. So what they did is here it is. So they took cease and desist, and you're not allowed to actually have the likeness of Elvis on in these little wedding chapels, right? This is from KTNV.com. Vegas wedding companies in negotiations over cease and desist from Elvis Presley brand owner, right? Brand owner, not the estate. You see how that's that's done. Yeah, right. What's up, Bailey? Yeah, more Elvis conspiracies. But okay, but so then, right, this ties in neatly to this same idea of a, let's say, digital resurrection of Elvis Presley himself. And Robert said this over on Rockfin, and I agree. I thought of this when I first saw this. that maybe they're trying to like cut out these Elvis impersonators and turn this into a licensed brand of you use our digital Elvis impersonator. Who knows? Maybe with this idea of Keyoptics 360. We give you your own little pyramid that you take into your chapel for all the weddings, and we digitally manifest your Elvis that you pay us a licensing fee for. This is all happening like the last couple weeks. So I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying sometimes things kind of all come together in a moment and you're like, this is too fucking weird. This is too weird. So what are your thoughts? Again, back to the Queen of England, back to the Platinum Jubilee, back to the idea of, is this some sort of actual ritual happening where they're doing magic? Do you think that's true? I think that's true. I think that's the thing. What's up? Yep, more Elvis conspiracies. I don't know. Is Elvis back? Elvis actually resurrected? Yeah, I don't know. 702-957-1037. All right. If you guys aren't interested, that's okay. I get it. It's a little bit out there tonight. Actually, no. I'll take that back. We got some people on air. Let's go to Matt in California. Matt, test 1, 2. Are you there? How you doing, brother?
Hey, Mike. How's it going?
I'm doing good, man. Just talking crazy shit tonight. Am I too far off base here?
I think you're on fire tonight, man. I'm digging this show.
Okay, all right, thank you. See, for every hater, there's a lover. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it, bro. What are your thoughts on this? Does it trace back? No, go ahead. Tell me your thoughts, and then I'll ask you some questions.
I just think I like the way you're connecting it all. You're just everything was just synced up pretty good. I thought it was pretty cool. I called to talk about Cheops and the builder of the pyramids.
Sure, go ahead.
And so this guy, Cheops or Khufu, he was the builder of the pyramids, and all these papyrus, these old like stone tablets they're finding and stuff. They talked to him about that he was one of the ones that basically ordered for the pyramids to be built. And of course, we don't know really what happened. But there's an interesting story I want to tell. I thought it was kind of cool with Khufu. Is that there was one time there was these two archaeologists, and this is in the Zechariah Stinson book, the second book, Stairway to Heaven. And in this book, he talks about a story about there's these two archaeologists, and they're like rivals, and they're going in the pyramid of Giza. They're both trying to discover who built the pyramid, what king or pharaoh built the pyramid of Giza. And they're in there with like masons and like stonecutters, and they're finding all these secret chambers. And they're in there like blowing up walls and like knocking down these into these secret chambers. And to them, these chambers no one has been in them since it was built. And so to them, they were thinking, use your imagination. What's behind this wall in a pyramid that no one's been in since it was built? Treasure, gold, jewels, mummies, whatever. They were hoping to find, the next big discovery. So they're in there, they're blowing up these walls, and they keep going into these rooms, these chambers. And in each chamber, it's completely empty. And they're like, what? Where's all the gold and stuff? And a little off subject, but I wanted to bring this up. In these chambers, there is one thing they found. On the ground, there's this black dust. They call it black dust. And they're taking samples of it. They're trying to figure out, and scientists cannot figure out what this material is that was on the ground. And of course, they got the theory, black goo, and the black goo dried up. And so they're digging through all these chambers, and they do start finding these hieroglyphs on the wall, but they're not hieroglyphs like carved. They're painted with this red paint that they made out of like flowers. And so one of the chambers, it says, that Khufu was the name of the king or the pharaoh that built the pyramid. And then in another chamber, it was something else. It was a different god that they attributed to the pyramid. And come to find out that one of the archaeologists, they were like, forging. They were like forging it. They were like going in there at night, and they were writing on the wall in Egyptian hieroglyphs. And the reason they found out is the guy messed up. He drew a picture of the hieroglyph wrong. And these the ancient Egyptians, when they did their hieroglyphs, they didn't mess up. They made sure that what they were writing was correct. And so the guy messed up. He drew like one hieroglyphic wrong, one little symbol wrong. And that's how they found out it was a fraud, that it was a forgery. And so at the end of the day, the whole thing becomes, if we can't say it was Khufu or say it was any pharaoh or king that built the pyramid, then who built the pyramid?
Yeah. There's a lot to that, and it's funny that you say that because I don't know if you've seen Stargate. It starts the movie starts with like literally that premise that the pyramid, the Great Pyramid, is quite a bit older than we think. And the actual archaeologist working on it in the movie and then continues to the series is Daniel Jackson, and then you guys will know the name if you've seen the series. But that's a lot of the premise of this has been around a lot longer than we think, and it kind of leads to some alien conspiracies, to not to be too much of a spoiler. But interesting, I'd never heard that story, and that's regarding the pyramid itself, the Great Pyramid of Khufu, right? But what about the black dust? That seems pretty alien too. What WTF is going on here, Matt? What do you think is actually going on with this Great Pyramid?
There's a lot of stuff. I think I like the way you tied the name, Khufu or Cheops, which is his name in Greek. And then you have the Cheops is the name of the builder of that holographic device. It's kind of creepy to me.
Yeah.
Like how
right?
the two connect.
Okay. I'm glad you said that, because I was like, this is kind of a stretch. Is this going to fly, Mike? I guess we'll find out. But I thought it was creepy because I literally typed, searched for 3D hologram. I think I typed Michael Jackson, or I typed Tupac, or whatever, maybe Roy Orbison. I don't know what the actual search was. It was something like that. And that was the item that came up. It was a Cheoptics 360. And I was like, what the fuck? I know that name. Sure enough, we're talking about the pyramid at Khufu, bro. Khufu's pyramid. This is wild, right? I don't know, man. So what do you think about that whole thing with the holograms and the Queen of England? Do you think that's something, or do you think that's nothing? Where do you stand with that?
I think they're just showing off their technology, what they can do. Like, it could just be an entertainment thing, and like it's kind of entertaining, right? Like, just like the Tupac and the Whitney Houston and everybody, the celebrity singing on stage. It's entertainment value. I think like that, to see the Queen of England go by and she's young again, it's kind of like a celebration, kind of entertainment value. But then I start to think, I mean, what are we doing here? What are we doing with these holograms? I think someone called earlier, it was like, who knows if these people we see on TV, they might already be dead and we're just seeing their holograms, like politicians and stuff.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
so what's going on there?
Yeah, not only that. So I found this article too, which it talks about exactly that. Let's see, where is it? It's down there. I don't know. Hold on. But basically, yeah. Look, talking about politicians. Look, it says this. This is from datadriveinvestor.com, and look, this is why you're locked in, Matt. Listen to this. It says, straight from the article, politicians are constantly videotaped. Over the years, thousands of hours of their videos exist. Feeding all this material into an AI program to train it will result in a treasure trove of images. If hooked up to a hologram-producing device, anyone could give immortality to a politician. Voice tracks could be generated by the AI programs, too. Oh, snap. That's what I was looking at today. I was like, oh, yeah. Shit. This comes together. It came together so fast, man. Like, all of this that I said was like, and there's a ton I left out, is like a 45-minute thing tonight. I was like, fuck. Like, it's not that easy all the time. That's why I'm a little hyped up. So I don't know, man. I don't know. What else you got? What else you got for us? You're the best, bro.
Well, it makes me wonder, like, if these celebrities or these politicians, if they've already like done some sort of like cryogen, like froze themselves, and then like it's just their holograms walking around doing stuff, so we don't notice they're missing.
Yeah, but, it could be, especially with television and the rest of that. Just like you described, like I've never seen Adam Schiff or Marco Rubio in my life. My only like actual like physical experience with them is through a video or a photograph, right? So I'm not saying they're fake, but I'm saying that if you really wanted to and you had the technology, I think you could fake it, dude. I think you could fake it. We're probably getting there.
Yeah. Yeah, one more thing on the hologram, just some hologram cool stuff. There's the show called Alter Ego. Did you ever catch that?
I've never seen that, no.
Let me talk about that real quick. It's a show called Alter Ego.
Sure.
And it's like a singing competition, like a singing competition shows. And when it first came out, I was like, gosh, they ran out of ideas. But it's the singing competition show where like someone that could sing really good, but maybe they don't have the like the face or the body. Like, you know how only pretty people can be pop stars.
Yeah, exactly.
And so what it is that the person that's singing, sorry, this is the person that's singing is behind stage, and they're hooked up to these the video game suits with the little balls on them, the little dots on them, like a sensors.
Yeah, like the sensor suit to kind of like for like 360 VR video of they did it with
exactly
Gollum in Lord of the Rings. Andy what's his name, Serkis wore like the suit with like the things. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's a suit, and they're backstage singing or performing. But then their alter ego, which is like an avatar that they've created, is on stage in a hologram performing the music in the front of the crowd. So if you're at the concert, you're seeing a hologram on stage of that person moving and singing and dancing, but the person's back behind stage. You have no idea what they look like or who they are. And honestly, I watched it, and if you like the technology of the holograms they have and what they could do, like they could have, they could change their color, their skin, they could change their suits anytime because it's digital, it's an avatar. But there was a couple of singers on there that like I got kind of emotionally, like I was like, wow, this is really good. And it was just kind of weird how they did it. It's a holographic, it's a digital superstar show. That's what it's about.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen the commercials of that. I haven't actually seen the real thing. And Dave over on on YouTube says ugly singers. Yes. I mean, right. I mean, I don't know, not to call them all ugly, but you know what I mean. It's like, hey, I'd rather be like like a purple bird that's 7 foot tall and can spread my wings and sing. You know what I mean? I mean, why not? Why not?
Yeah, and that was the thing of it was as the people get voted off, the actual person comes out on stage and sings with their avatar and like says goodbye to their avatar because they lost. And it's just really cool to see that, see the person behind it's like behind their voice. You have no idea what they look like. You're just judging based off their avatar. It's a pretty good show. Check it out. And just to check it out, just to see how far they've come with this technology of these holograms. And now we're really questioning, like, what could they do with these holograms? What are they already doing with these holograms? And I think this is something that we need to look at and talk about.
Yeah, I think so. Like that. That's basically like when the metaverse comes into the real world, right? Pretty soon we're about to enter into that metaverse where everybody's a 7 foot tall purple bird. So shit's about to get weird, Matt. Shit's about to get weird. Yeah, good stuff, man.
It's technology.
Yeah, exactly. What else you got? What else you got regarding the link here or anything else? What else is on your mind?
I'm gonna go. You got other people in the chat and call here.
Okay.
Listen to them. But thank you, Mike. It was a good show tonight. You really made things connect. So thank you for that. Have a good night.
Appreciate it, brother. That's Matt in California, good friend of mine. Tell Lacey I said hello. Thanks for listening, you guys. You're the best. There you go. I don't know. Like I said, sometimes I feel like I'm too far off the rails, but I kind of don't give a shit because all the disclaimers and the maybe juice and this is not the truth, right? There's some people that like beat their hand on the pulpit and scream this is the truth. I'm just like, hey, look, it came together quickly, and if that's not like sync after sync after sync after sync, and you see how it kind of goes around full circle with the Elvis stuff that that the Robert brought up. That was on my mind too when I was putting this together, and I intentionally left it out. I was going to kind of mention it in passing. It was just too much to kind of get through, so I was like, we had too much shit to this. I got too much to talk about. But yeah, great stuff from Matt in California. Thank you for that. Matt in Colorado, can you hear me? Test 1 2 on Discord. Are you there? God damn it, Matt. You're killing me, bro. You're killing me. Well, Matt in Colorado called in a little while ago, and he's now on Discord, which is now broken. Like I said, Discord updated tonight, guys. So if you didn't update it, you might have problems. So let's get back to the basics. Matt, update the Discord if you're listening to me on the stream, because you probably can't hear me on the actual thing. All right, looking to hear from you guys. 702-957-1037. Talking about hologram immortality, this ancient ritual magic. Do you think there is a link? Again, like I said, it was a tenuous link at best, all right, in my opinion. But it is odd that the technology used for actual 3D holographic representation of like Tupac or Michael Jackson or Roy Orbison or whatnot is called Cheoptics 360. And I was like, that's Cheops. That's Khufu. That's the Great Pyramid, dude. And I knew from archaeology and anthropology and the things they say about Egyptology that they say that he wasn't buried in the pyramid, or he was, and they think he was looted. His body and his treasures were looted, right? Other people refute that and say that there's no ancient astronaut theorists say yes, right? But I don't know. Like, I wasn't there. I'm not that old. I'm only as old as I am. I wasn't alive 5,000 years ago or whatever. But, right? So is the Cheoptics 360 and the link between the Queen and her Platinum Jubilee and the Court of Cheops and this individual by the name of Dedi, the first magician in antiquity that ends up in the books and ends up, again, the craziest part, in the Society of American Magicians Hall of Fame and Magic Museum. Dedi of Ancient Egypt, 2500 BC. What do you guys think? Too far off the rails? 702-957-1037. APOC in Oklahoma. Test 1 2. Are you there?
Man, you caught me off guard.
Boo!
Hey.
Boom! What's going on?
I tried to be quick. Hey, I love this rabbit hole you've got going there. I like the maybe juice tonight. And what I say is going to be pretty scattered, but I just have a few thoughts. So the hologram is light. Information is or can be contained within light. So this kind of goes into your potential, well, where I took it was like potentially conscious holograms in respect to if information can be communicated through light, and the hologram is is basically light. You have the potential to, theoretically embed someone's information or consciousness into light. As a matter of fact, that's one of the sort of theories of the holographic universe. Not really, but similar, right? And if you go to the pyramid, you have the pyramid connected to being potentially a power plant. And Rohan just popped in, and he'll be able to tell you who came up with that theory, I'm sure, which I can't think of the name right now. But it works. It's a very interesting theory. And Matt mentioned the black powder, and I think one of the theories based on that is that there was some kind of, through the power plant thing, there was some kind of explosion or reaction of some kind in the power plant, and that I think they had seen some kind of residue of or potential evidence of that. Might be the black powder. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
real quick, real quick, just let me interrupt real fast. I didn't even think in terms of that for tonight, but I think I am remiss leaving out the idea of the let's say mystic power of the pyramid itself, the pyramid shape. And it's stupid me, right? Because like I said, but there was too much. Kind of, it was like it took me like a long time to like describe the entire thought process and putting all the things together. I think you add too many things, it becomes too convoluted. But I'm glad you brought it up because it definitely fits. Sorry to interrupt. Go right ahead.
That's okay. I was going to go on about it a little bit because the pyramid itself is, if it were connected to being a power plant and they could produce energy, they could produce, light, photons, whatever with that. Could there have been maybe a way to, if you add the Stargate theory, if you add, some of the stuff I've looked into to that, what if potentially one of the ways that they could maybe communicate with their gods was through holographic representations via the pyramidal energy?
Which goes back to your Key Optics 360.
Yeah,
exactly. So it's super weird, right? Like when I found that name, I just went, "Oh shit!" And again, but it all lined up. It all came so easily. And like I said, sometimes it's a fight. Sometimes I fight a couple days with the show idea because I can't. Right? There aren't syncs or this, that, the other thing. And I'm not shitting you. All of this was 45 minutes tonight. It was like one thing, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. Yeah, it was incredible. That's why like I said, I'm super hyped about it. But yeah, so great way to bring it all back to that because it seems maybe I'm not as crazy as it might seem. I don't know.
No,
I don't know. Go ahead. Go ahead with what else you got? Go right ahead, my friend.
Well, on the sort of hybrid people-animal thing with your magician, if you look at a lot of their gods or a lot of the images, a lot of the stories, you do have a lot of composite animal humans, and potentially, there is a theory about the hybrids, messing with DNA and creating hybrids. Perhaps the magician was possibly a scientist. I don't know.
The old that's a good one too. See, again, that fits perfectly in that we got Anubis with the dog head. It's like so like I said, the decapitation of the self when you pass and the hologram of your life as projected, right? So there's the modern version of that. But the decapitation of the head of animals is also very representative of, well, we can't do this to people directly because, well, maybe there are rules that cannot be broken regarding resurrection directly in the Egyptian Book of the Dead. And again, look up the story, guys. It's pretty in-depth and it's interesting as hell because he is brought to the court of Cheops, Khufu, and actually asks specifically, hey, if you can bring people back, we'll roll this prisoner out and just chop his MF and head off, and you bring his ass back, right? And it was a step he wasn't willing to take. So I wonder, right? It's some lessons in this for sure, right?
Mm-hmm. Hybrid DNA creating, maybe a potential hybrid between, you can go in so many directions with this. I really like I really like what you did with the show tonight because it is putting some pieces together and then you can kind of expand from that. I mean, you can go into the possible hybrid DNA and the possible power plant and all this stuff and the connections between the gods and the humans and then the Stargates even. So, and what if one of the Stargates was a holographic portal of some kind and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I really love this topic tonight. That's it. I mean, I might have something else to say later, but I think that it's a great show. You did a great show tonight.
Well, thank you. It's completely accidental. It was just grease the rails and hop on, and I was like, oh shit, this and this and this and this. I guess this is what we're doing tonight. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to argue when things come so easily. APOC, you're the best. Stay right there. You're welcome to stay. As you know, we'll get back to you if you got some other ideas. APOC, a good friend of mine, good friend of the show's. She's got a podcast called Apocalypse Tau, about to get active again. Check it out. All her links in the description down below. It says follow APOC here. Click it. She's got a link tree, a portal. Is it a portal? What do you call it? What's it called?
Call it a portal page.
The portal page. There you go. Go step into the APOC portal, and you will never know what you will find. And it says follow APOC.
Wait, no, that sounds wrong. Just the
wait. No. Step. Foot. That gets super weird. Come on. Hey, stop. Everything ain't got to be dirty. Stop, APOC. All right, look. So please give her a follow. She's got a great podcast. I listened to it myself, and I double thumbs up approve. She's about to get active again and start doing some podcasting, and I'm going to keep twisting her arm until I'm on that podcast my damn self. So let me know when we get going, APOC. I'd be happy to be on there, okay? Right on. Thank you very much. Appreciate the input there. 702-957-1037. Hologram Immortality, Ancient Ritual Magic, the Queen of England, Cheops, and Khufu, the builder of the Great Pyramid. Of course, it's Greek, and the normal vernacular, they would say the old school is Greek. They called him Cheops. That's how he's mostly known in antiquity. Khufu is what we call him now, the Pyramid of Khufu. Same person, different, anyway, etc. So on. Let's go to, I see there, Rohan, hang tight, buddy. Let's go to Matt in Colorado. He's been dipping in and out on Discord. It's all clusterfucked, but we got you on the phone. Go ahead, Matt in Colorado. You're on Troubled Minds.
Hey, thanks, Michael. Listen, I just, off the top, I want to say, I don't think you're crazy, with tonight's show and everything. I just think you're strange. So,
that's fine.
But no,
I'll take that.
I'm glad APOC got in before me, because I was going to take it right to where she took it. And, kind of pick up where we left off with Jedi and Khufu. And so here's my sort of rhetorical question is, if you started in the one place, with the royal thing, and it led you here and it led you there, and all of a sudden you go down this rabbit hole and you end up at, I'm just going to call them Jedi, you end up at Jedi and Khufu, then why? Okay, so if it was on purpose, all these things, and it led you somewhere, then what's the mystery it was leading it to you? What's important about that? And I think, what really struck me is when you said the part about they were like, the real magic is lost, the ancient magic. And you're talking about like 4,500 years ago, they were talking about, the magic's lost. There's one guy who still knows some magic. So then, right, let's go back to that like ancient magic.
Right. And C.S. Lewis. So there's deep magic from the dawn of time, and there's deep magic from before the dawn of time. Yes, indeed. I'm going to read that. I've got it right here. I'm going to read exactly what you said straight from the translation of that. But sorry to interrupt. Go ahead. But yeah, you're onto something here.
Yeah, so if you go back before that, what was that kind of magic, or what was that even about? And, even just the concept, I know you'll track this and your listeners will, but, high technology, to a primitive people appears like magic. Okay, so like APOC was saying, maybe where this goes back to was something more like high technology. And back to the idea of like the demigods. And maybe the pharaohs were like gods or demigods, or maybe extraterrestrials, or maybe extraterrestrial half-breeds, like I was talking about with the demigods. Maybe genetic cloning, half-breeds. And if you think about that, from the technology, the cloning, the DNA, that might be why they got the whole idea of the mummies and the preserving their DNA. Now, I think that the later pharaohs that we know about, that was like a hand-me-down from many generations before, where that technology was around. Maybe those crafts were around, those demigods were around. They had that science, they had that ancient magic. They were actually able to do it and working with it, but it had been lost. But the traditions and the practices and the ceremonies and the mummification, it continued on. You see what I'm saying? So, like, they had something back before, that ancient technology, that ancient magic, and there really was something going on there. But it kind of got lost over time, or the ETs flew away, or the demigods, died or got killed, or whatever happened, right? And so then by the time you get down to like Khufu, it's sort of too late. It's like lost technology or something, but they still had the belief system. It was like their religion. It was part of their culture. So they still believed in it, and maybe they had lost the methods and the means or the technology or the access to it.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
What I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I follow you. And so again, there's a lot of that. They could draw people very clearly and obviously because they were drawing people in hieroglyphs with like animal heads, right? And so it makes you wonder, right? It makes you wonder: did they believe this stuff or did they see this stuff? And again, I know it's ancient astronaut theorists say yes and all the rest of that stuff. And I'm not old enough to even like conjecture a educated opinion on that, other than what we know about modern technology. If there was any dip into that back then, let's say from God knows what, like who knows where it may have came from, magic and technology. Again, Arthur C. Clarke and all the rest of that. Like who knows, man? Who knows? Let me read this to you real quick before we. I'm not going to cut you off just yet. Listen to this. This is straight from the translation of the Westcar Papyrus. All right, and it goes exactly like this. This is Prince Jedefur stands before his father King Khufu, Cheops, and says, quote, "There is only speaking of miracles which happened a long time ago, something known by past generations only. And as you described," I break in the quote, "that was 4,500 freaking years ago." It continues, quote, "Truth and falsehood cannot be distinguished here. But there is someone under thy majesty's own lifetime who is not known, someone who is able to make an ignoramus become wise." And Khufu asks, "What's the meaning of this, Jedefur, my son?" Jedefur answers, "There's a commoner named Dedi, living in Jed Sneferu. He's a simple citizen, but 110 years old, eats 500 loaves of bread, a shoulder of beef, and drinks 100 jars of beer every day. He is capable of resurrecting decapitated beings." And I'll cut it there because this goes on and it's super long. But holy shit, right? Hey, he had me at 100 jars of beer a day. Boom.
Right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, but that's amazing. I encourage you guys to read the whole freaking thing if you're interested in this, because I was shocked. I was reading this with my mouth agape, like, slack-jawed idiot. It just happened all so fast. But go ahead. What's your take on that?
Well, yeah, before I forget, I'll come back to that. But before I forget, I want to say, and it ties into maybe the demigod thing, you look at these reliefs on the temple walls, not hieroglyphs, but the drawings, the pictoglyphs. And when they show the pharaohs and stuff, they're like big, and like the servants and people around them, they're like come up to their kneecap. And, the archaeologists are always like, oh, they depicted it that way to show respect for the pharaoh, and he's more important, so they made him appear larger. And I'm like, I don't buy it. These guys, their artwork was incredibly accurate. It was amazing. And no, I think the guys were literally giants. They were like 18 feet tall. And they do the same thing in the statues and stuff. And you see the pharaohs and dudes, and they're big, and they have regular people next to them that are, 6 foot tall. And it's like they're 3 times as big. They're 18, 20 feet. I don't think that was like, oh, we're trying to, elevate them out of prestige. I think they do it accurately. I think these were, kind of like the stories of the Nephilim, right? And the giants. And, I think they were a different kind of being. Now, again, I'm saying maybe this is the pharaohs 40,000 years ago, 50,000 years ago. And then maybe the bloodlines got diluted and they became more like regular humans. And so by the time you get to King Tut, yeah, okay, he's 5'8", whatever. But yeah, in terms of that ancient magic and that guy, drinking all the mead and eating all the cattle and stuff, he was like some kind of superhuman magic user guy. And I don't buy this whole thing when we can't make sense of it in modern times. Skeptics want to go, oh, it's just a myth. Oh, it's just a legend. And it's like, no, those people were pretty serious about their oral traditions, recording history. They have the names of every pharaoh for thousands of years. And, they took that stuff seriously. This was like, they weren't making stuff up and writing down fiction. You can believe these were the stories told as they happened or believed they happened or best they knew. And, bless his son, sounds like Michael Strange. He was like this maybe juice, right? He said, there's many truths and there's many falsities. He's like, I don't know if this is real or not. This could be BS, right? But it's like, I heard a story. You got a guy in your kingdom, let's get him here and see what he can do. And the other thing is Anubis, who's he's a god, not a pharaoh, and he's got the head of a dog, and then you've got Hemetet, is it, and with the head of a lion or some kind of big cat, and It is certainly possible that's what they saw. And I think it is what they saw. And okay, so one simple explanation, these would be like a headdress they were wearing or like a mask. But they don't really look like that. And the other explanation would be they were some other kind of beings, whatever, extraterrestrial or came from a different dimension but came here, kind of like the reptilians. They don't look human. So, some of those gods maybe appeared or manifested, and they recorded exactly, what they looked like, what they saw. And I don't think they were anthropomorphizing. No, they recorded what they saw. That's my opinion.
Okay, fair enough. We got calls behind you, bro. We got to balance. You're the best. Matt in Colorado, he's got a book. Links in the description. Go check it out. There's a coupon code for free books, and I don't have the name up of the book because it's a very long name. Check it out. Good friend. You can tell Matt's on the level. Wink, wink. Whatever the fuck that means. And he's locked into this. You're the best, Matt. I appreciate the call. Thanks for being interested. Thanks for being you.
Always my pleasure. Hey, everybody. Think for yourself. Think consciously, keep your mind open, and ask lots of questions.
Amen, brother. Thanks a lot. There you go. Easy as that. 702-957-1037. We're getting near the end of the show, but we got people that have dipped in and got some things to say. Like I said, third hour's for you guys, and I appreciate it very much. Thanks for popping in and saying hi. Let's go to Rohan. Rohan in the UK. What's up, my man? Maybe you got something to say about the Queen of England, or maybe not. Are you there? Test 1, 2.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, Mike.
Hey, you sound great. What's up, man? Long time no see.
All right.
What's up, brother?
Oh, so I'm catching my breath after just listening. I was like, oh my God. And Jen's just popped in as well. I thought,
I saw that.
Sitting down.
I saw that. So we'll get her in as well. So, Jen, go ahead and dry your hands. Working on the sink over there. You got a few minutes. Rohan's going to talk, and we'll get to Jen in just a moment. You beat her, so I don't want to we take calls in order, guys. So there you go. But thanks for noticing. I did see Jen. Go ahead, Rohan.
Well, I was just going to say on that, because it's Jen, actually, I'm in a nice, comfortable, warm environment, so I can wait, and I've got time if you want to get her in.
Okay, let's check with Jen. Jen, hey, you in a moment where you want to dip in first, or you want to dry your hands and work on the sink a little bit? You tell us.
No, it's fine. I'm sorry. Yeah, my sink it's every single house I live in, I swear. Like, something goes weird with the sinks. I don't know what it is, but I don't know if people before me or what, but I've been fiddling with it all night. But I've been listening in, and I think that one thing that I want to bring up about it, and I appreciate it, Rohan. That's so nice of you to be like, go ahead. I will, I guess. Okay, so what I think is that none of these people, that queen, and with all due respect for the lady, and every other queen and king and pharaoh in the past, it's all reliant in their minds. And you'll see that every celebrity and every president and everybody who rules the world, even if it's just by title alone, and everyone who's an influence on that grand scope is doing so by a bloodline. All of them. They're all in some way not distantly related, very closely related. And you'll see within the royal families directly related and inbred, many of them, deeply. And it's because of this divine right to rule belief that they've all adopted in ancient times. Same with the pharaohs. And there's a belief that initially the divine right to rule is the idea that you couldn't be in that position, of course, unless it was ordained by the universe, unless God wanted you to do so. So if the universe wants you to do so, we should all believe that they are a star, or they are our king or queen, because God has made them so, or they couldn't be so, right? Because of some natural order. That is how it is. And they believe, they've convinced themselves that it's in their blood. They're blue bloods. There's something special about their blood, and there's something unique about their blood, but that has no reason, directly no connection to why they should rule over the world, as they have done for millennia. That is due to magic. The whole right to rule, and why you will find a magician in every court in the past. They say that John Dee helped to conjure up the British Empire. And there are talks about that ritual, that they did it through magic. They are ruling through magic and going against, and they were terrified all the long way through all of this past in history, that they would be usurped by someone else, because they do actually not have the right to rule maybe at some point there was some great pharaoh that was good with the people and did the right thing for their people. But at this point, that is not the case, and they're holding their place through magic, in my opinion, and they are all very interested in this, and you've seen this with every president. There's always this something with the occult. You'll see it with everything, this belief. And what they're doing is they're doing it by going against the natural rule of things, and the magician is all about the sleight of hand. Not the ritual magician, but the typical stage magician, which you see a lot of times in court, like in the courts of the ancient royals. And it's the sleight of hand of making the people, the vast masses, believe that that's the trick, to make us all believe that these people have a right to be in their position and tell everyone how we should live and what we should do. And that we shouldn't have absolute freedom. And that we are not right to ordain ourselves over our own lives. So their magic is meant to influence us, showing the queen as her younger self at the Jubilee coronation, and then showing her again as her quote-unquote present self, is to remind us, remember, she was ruling here and ruling there. And God bless the lady. But at the same time, they are a long line of false kings and queens and pharaohs all the way back into time, all through the action of ritual magic that has been meant to, on a spiritual level, suppress the will of the masses and to keep them in their place. And they are ruling on, a layer of unspeakable things. It should be said for the pharaohs as well as the present-day rulership around the world, you know? And I just wanted to mention that they are using magic to be in their positions. And that goes for the celebrities and all of that symbology you see. It's because there is nothing uniquely special. There are millions. Everyone is extremely talented in one regard or another. these people are put in positions of the mass mafia. They are in part of a gangsters type of mafia, is why they are put before us, even sometimes without any talent whatsoever. It's sleight of hand, and it also, on some other level, is a spectrum of magic. The hologram thing, yes, exactly right. That it's like a spirit, and when you conjure anything up, it will appear like a hologram. You can reach right through it, like a ghost. And they want us worshiping these ghosts and believing these ghosts are still relevant, even if they're not actually there anymore. And I just wanted to say that about it. And I wish I could think of more right off the top of my head, but I was like busy with all of that.
That's all right. Hey, we've all had a busted sink. I get it, Jen. By the way, you're still blowing up brains with a busted sink, so you're not crippled at all. Definitely great stuff. I appreciate it. If you got more, go right ahead. If not, fix that sink.
And this plunging and pulling, like I'm doing boiling water and Drano and plungers. But the thing is that they have always, the magic itself has been the basis of, like, everyone's always done that. The whole magic and ritual, you imitate what you hope will happen. They've taken it a step further by interacting with beings on the other, like, beyond the veil, to try to ensure making deals, sacrifices, all these different things. Whatever you want, keep us in power, because the power that we're talking about is the power to rule the world. And the right to wage war on millions and millions of people and to murder them without mercy for your right to rule. And to have the gods or the angels or the whatever, the spirits or the ancient ancestors to support that will, which is the basis of all of the sacrifice, that they should acknowledge and give us favor should we do this. And if we're in communication, that's what they're doing. And they're doing it against the will of the people, in my opinion, because the natural line of who should rule, you should rule yourself. And there's no doubt, it never has been, about that. So these people who have put them all the time, no matter who, they did not build the pyramid. That was built on the backs of slaves.
Yeah.
Or on a supernatural race, perhaps.
Yeah.
But
interestingly, they say, when I was digging through this, they say that Cheops or Khufu was actually a dictator of the worst kind, because he was described as again butchering people and the rest of this. And one of the actual, which is what led me into this whole idea tonight, is that they described the situation where he's like, bring me a prisoner and we'll cut off his head for the immediate court magician, right? Like the court magician, but again, it led me rabbit hole. It wasn't accurate. I found that paragraph or two in some other reference somewhere, but they were like he was a bastard because of this, that, the other thing. But who knows, right? Again, who knows? Kelly's over here saying on Rockfin that Khufu didn't even build the pyramid. He's linking some actual articles regarding academic.
None of them did. None of them did. The pyramids were there before them, and we know that. Nobody wants to accept it, but we all kind of whisper in our minds that, and we've heard in other mythos and other legends, that those pyramids were there before the present history, way before that, and they've been restructuring them, repairing them, remodeling, that kind of thing. But yeah, they were there before, as were all of the ancient, like the ones that are even gone, like the Hanging Gardens and da-da-da-da. Those were built by a predating civilization that was destroyed in some kind of catastrophe or something. But regardless, this modern rulership, I don't know what made them, but they're ruling, they're using that ritual magic. That's why it's important to them. And all the symbology that's being put upon us every day through the media, which is a goddess. Media is a goddess itself. They are controlling the masses to make them believe, it's a sleight of hand, that this is what's actually deciding the fate of the world, not you. But we all know, and this has always been the truth, that we are our own rulers, rightfully so by the ordained of the universe. And it's their foolery that makes us convinced through their magic and their sleight of hand that is not the case. And that coronation and everything else, and the holograms and everything, to make them believe that they are still relevant and should be to us, because look what a big deal they're making out of all of this, even though it's clearly not the case. And even if it is a figurehead, it's still nonsense. Still complete nonsense. And who knows what they're going to bring about with that in the future? I don't know. There's all kinds of rumors about what's supposed to happen or who's going to take over the world. Bunch of nonsense. But anyway, great topic, good show. And I'm gonna pop off here.
I appreciate it. Go fix that sink. Hey, water all over the place is bad. Go get it. You're the best, Jennifer. Thanks for popping in and spreading some wisdom. Jennifer here has a YouTube channel. Check it out. It says follow Jennifer here. Links in the description down below. Give her a follow. She's inactive for the moment. She's going to get back to making some YouTube vids, as far as I'm aware. Do check it out. Brilliant, as you can tell, etc. So on. But not just her. Follow everybody else too. All the links down there. You see all those amazing people. All right. Speaking of amazing people, thank you, Jennifer, for peeling off this thing for a moment, and thank you, Rohan, for allowing her in and giving this space. The mighty Rohan, what's up, bro? Welcome back to Troubled Minds. What do you think, man? Yeah, the UK guy. What's your take on this? Again, so is it a stretch for me to sort of make a ritual connection to the Queen of England, Elizabeth II, and Khufu, or Cheops in Greek? What do you think, my friend? And go right ahead, monologue style. I'm going to step away and hit the restroom, but I got you on a speaker, so I'll hear everything you say. Be right back. Go right ahead.
Yeah, go for that. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, so, well, man, there's so much stuff here. So, I mean, all right then. I'm just going to go through my notes in order, because they'll be roughly clustered. So, look, holograms, right? I've mentioned this before on this show, and it's worth reiterating. I think I've mentioned it other places. In the 80s, I used to watch a TV show, Tomorrow's World. They showed us a 3D TV, explained obviously, 2D tele. You're not going to seem like that, but they had that in a lab in the 80s. Yeah, and I remember, you get these, so you get these pop stars and holographic shows, got Tupac and stuff. So it's getting realistic. Richard Branson had a really realistic looking one. I had a rumor that George Lucas and Steven Spielberg went in an auditorium, saw a 3D hologram. Everyone thought it was real. A guy doing a talk on the history of television. Right, so this stuff's been around, and I clearly, distinctly remember seeing on a Google search back in the day, in probably about 2010 or whatever, 2008, whatever, that sort of era, Sky Television said that they had the rights for 3D television, and it's coming out in 2016. That's disappeared. And then there's always that thing of like, well, where's all the good moon movies through the decades? And this thing about you can't make a good moon movie because if it's convincing, then you can fake the moon. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think, I don't know, with this stuff, I think it's only recent, like the George Clooney movies and Gravity and things, you're starting to get these realistic space movies. Do you know what I'm saying? But now it's like well established that, I don't know, I just think there's a trick here. And when it comes to the Queen and what's going off now, I'm thinking that this is definitely a ritual, because that was an empty carriage, hologram or not. That was an empty carriage, and there's a changing of the guard going on. Yeah, the royals have been distancing themselves. The children have been kind of doing that, separating themselves. They've been kind of falling apart, having fallouts. Yeah, the zodiac's just changed. We've had all this, massive amounts of censorship all of a sudden, and if we look at our spiritual scriptures and writings of different religions and look at our history and put together, do the Joseph Campbell thing and try and get a big picture look at our history, and you see, well, hang on, there's supposed to be a changing of the guard right now. It's supposed to be this second coming, right? And everybody's been promising it in different ways. Buddhism's been promising this, saying it's been 90,000 years in the making. So the Buddhism side of things saying it's a changing of the guard. The zodiacs have changed. We've suddenly got loads of censorship and there's a big panic. And I think it is a ritual, absolutely. And the Anunnaki stuff, if you believe in stitching, you mentioned stitching, I'm not totally convinced about stitching, but some, you know, if we're going with it, I think some of it's there, done some good work. So that says that there is an Anunnaki changing of Enki and Enlil, always switching over. You know, and they work on 60s or whatever, so I was trying to find some numerology in the 70, but
yeah,
I mean,
was there anything in the 70 that you could actually slap into that? Like I said, numerology is not
70
much
sons of
the number 7.
The Titans and that.
Is it Titans?
70 sons. Yeah, the 70. Where is it? The Nephilim and all that. The fallen angels. Supposedly that was 70 sons of El. And then people debating whether or not they're angels and stuff like that. I found that. I did a quick look up. Do you know what I mean? And it's I don't know if this figures out, but this what came straight, just scratching the surface, Michael. So there's 12 months in the year, 12 lunar cycles, 840 over 70 years, right? So that makes 8 and 4 makes a 12, which is a 3, right? And this year when it ends, so we've got a 3 at the beginning of the coronation when she starts, and then the end, 2022, we've got a 6. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, well, the 3 and the 6, they're for polarity. Do you know what I mean? And then you got the God number 9, which is the number that never changes. You multiply it by any number, always adds up to 9. Do you know what I'm saying? So we've got this kind of God number and positive polarity at the beginning, negative at the end. I don't know if it means anything. But what I do know is that the 3, the 6 and the 9 are the kind of expression in numbers of what when we see bits in the matrix, bits of the code. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a long story, but you can map time over a torus, and those 3, 6, 9 patterns keep coming up. It's a long story. It's Marco Rodin's Rodin coil.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm with you. That's Tesla. That's Tesla. 369. The secrets of the universe, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't have to go any further than that. I mean, Tesla was one of those guys that like cutting out all the esoterics. He was the modern genius of the modern genius. People even say, you know, probably smarter than Einstein in many ways. It's just that, right? Like he was, let's say, not his best hype man. he let what's the guy's name? Was it Bell?
J.P. Morgan.
It was J.P. Morgan.
And Edison as well.
Yeah, Edison's. That's the guy I'm looking for. He let these guys just run over him because he's like, that's okay. You know, like whatever my ideas are today, I'll have good ideas tomorrow. You know, so let them take the things I've come up with. You know what I mean? He's like the most modest.
I know exactly
guy.
what you mean.
Yeah, right.
I've had so many people come to me saying, "Oh, people take advantage of you," and I'm like, I'm a machine. I'm a miracle maker, mate. I don't care. I'll make another one.
Hey, Rohan, we make our own luck. Hey, don't wait for luck to come to you. Make your own fucking luck. That's what I said. Look, hey, I said this. If you guys want to listen to that when we were on the Fringe with Ryan Gable, I said, look, I don't believe in luck, right? I believe in momentum, and momentum is literally based on your own motion. And so it's up to you. Make your own luck. Don't fucking cry about bad luck. Get up and go get it. Go get it, guys. Just there you go. There's the Michael Strange positivity moment for the night. But I mean, I don't know. So you do think that this you mentioned the empty carriage, and I wanted to ask you about this. What does that mean? An empty carriage, is that ritualistic? That's a good term. It's kind of like an empty cradle. It's kind of like an empty vessel. It's kind of like an empty, like what's going on with that? What's up with the empty carriage?
Yeah. It's like the cup's been filled, the queen or something's been put into the house, isn't it? And now the carriage is being removed and that's gone. You know what I'm saying? Whether she's alive or not, walking around or not, it doesn't really matter because the changing the guard's happening, isn't it? And they're all separating. Do you know what I'm saying? And then everybody knows that she's elderly and at some point she's going to die. And as Russell Brand made a good point on his video talking about this, that American money's got all different presidents. British money, English money's got the queen on everything. So as soon as she dies, your entire currency needs an overhaul, everything. And that then puts into the minds of people having an overhaul on, well, what is the royal family? What does it mean to us? And then we might start thinking, do we need it? And the only way they sell it to us, because they don't say divine right to rule anymore, people aren't buying that, not sort of talking like that in modern terms. So we talk in terms of revenue. That's all we talk in terms of the tourism it brings. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think, hang on a minute, whoa, has anyone done the math on this? I've not sat and done the mathematics, but I don't think the tourism money that you get from all of that can anywhere near add up to all the upkeep of all the estates and this, that, and the other. And plus, I didn't realise just how much private wealth they've got. I thought all the wealth was ours. It's not. They've got an incredible amount of private wealth.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go back to
an astonishing
Temple of
amount.
Wealth, and like maybe they were the ones who peeled off, or the benefactors of like peeling off the Crusades, the Holy Grail, and the you know what I mean? Like, who the fuck knows?
They've been saving up a long time, Michael.
They've been saving up a long fucking time, and you know what? Compound interest is a bitch.
Especially when you control the gold market.
Yeah, right. Hey, what happens if you put the Holy Grail into a bank and get interest on it every year? What happens on that? Can you tell me?
Oh, does anyone want a Holy Grail? What can you do for me?
What could you do for me? Oh, shit. Yeah, I don't know, man.
You know that works. And this is where I was making the point, Mike, about saying about the moon and the videos and the censorship. Because guess what, right? We've got really good technologies these days, and we've got really good illusion technologies. We don't need smoke and mirrors anymore, do we?
Yeah, well,
right?
No, smoke and mirrors is of the past. And people were there was some chat going on over on YouTube. There, I see you guys. They were talking about okay, so can you actually have a hologram in the sun? Is there like some sort of like diffraction that happens with like the the sunlight? But it's not that anymore. Like I was saying, maybe during the break, I may have said it during the show. I don't know. It all blends together in my head. But it's not that anymore. Like if you have a plasma actual hologram, you're not diffusing light anymore at all. It like stops light. When the light hits plasma, it stops. Cast its own shadow. So like that old school hologram, the idea from like 1970, that shit's gone. Like we've got our holograms are real fucking holograms, and you could probably touch them and they could probably punch you and knock you down, right? Like that's the type of shit that's really fucking going on anymore, right? I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, the haptic feedback will be just weird on that, and then that will go next level again, and then it will be almost like we'll think of it more like the old school. I reckon in the future we'll think of it more like the old school because it will seem like because it will be like hard light holograms, like I say, and a plasma at the minute you can't even touch that. There's going to be a thing that's going to feel real, isn't it? At some point, do you know what I'm saying? And it's like, but what's real? Then puts it down to what's real, because if you remember in Star Trek, there's a Star Trek episode where they find this the batolith of Kalis, great warrior. That's the guy, the legend. Okay, so then they scrape some DNA off of it, clone it for their clan, and say, look, we've got Kalis, and we've got his batolith, and they can confirm it with DNA. But the debate then is, well, is that Kalis? Because you didn't go to them battles that we sing about for centuries. You didn't have those experiences, so are you really Kalis? Do you know what I mean? And Kalis, being made of that stuff, thought about it and was like, you know what? I'm a Klingon and I haven't been to any battles. I've got these scars aren't mine. So no, I'm not here. I haven't been to any battles. How can I? I'm not even a Klingon. So everyone's like, shit. Do you know what I mean? Before it could unify the empire with all of this, and I realised it's just bullshit. So in the end, the guy, like, I think his DNA is breaking down, or he kills himself or something, and then they just get the batolith and launch it back into space, because it's like, we're just not ready to be unified. It's all bullshit. You know what I mean? They learn a lesson. It's like, it's not about the warrior and the guy and the thing. It's about our beliefs and our stories and our traditions. You know what I mean? And we shouldn't need this figure to come along and fix our shit for us. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
They were creating a savior, weren't they? And then realizing, well, it's bullshit.
Yeah, well, I think that's the thing. Like I said earlier multiple times, I don't believe in a king or a queen. I don't give a shit. And interestingly, right, like it kind of came about today. Like typically on any given day, I have 3 or 4 ideas for a particular show idea. And like I go with the one that's most interesting to me. I have some rules. It's got to be interesting to me. Number 2, it's got to have legs. It's got to be able to go for a little while and not just fucking end super fast. And then number 3, it's got to be compelling enough to talk about, right? Those are my rules, right? Like that kind of, and I gauge everything kind of by that. And again, like that doesn't mean any of this is true. Of course, you guys know me. This is the maybe juice discussion and all the rest. I don't fucking know. But right, this one like has been kind of eating at me for a couple days, and I saw it this weekend, and I was like, Queen, the hologram, and just like, fuck. Okay, let's look. And so I'd like dip in for like literally no shit. It was like 15 minutes. And I'm like, fuck. How the fuck did I get here? And then like 15 minutes later, I'm like, shit. Like I'm down 22 rabbit holes. This is horse shit. And then 15 minutes later, I'm like, okay, I got to stop. I have to stop because there's too much. And it came so fast. So let me ask you, do you think it's ridiculous to link, at least even in periphery, the modern royal family, the Queen Elizabeth II, to Cheops?
I don't think so, because especially considering, I mean, look, this is a cutback, right? England used to be known as the whole island used to be known as a magical island, and there's all sorts of ley lines on there. That Becker Hagen's Earth energy grid, that's the thing. That's why you're getting things built on the intersecting nodes. It's no accident. Okay, and we got a lot of them. These things all linked together. I'm pretty sure down south where we get the crop circles, Aylesbury, I'm pretty sure that's mapped out pretty similar to Giza. Because there's a link with, obviously Sedona on Mars has some hills, mounds, or whatever that kind of look like pyramids that match up with Giza. And we've got the same in Aylesbury. Do you know what I'm saying? And also as well, there's another link for you. I don't know if you're aware of this one, but the Mystery Schools of Egypt, right, that was a university. And they had a division in Iran, which I think is to do with Sufism. And they had a division in Ireland, which is the Gnostics. So, yeah, Egypt was here already. And guess what? England's original name, because Europe was founded by Africans, England's original name was Onkland, as in the Ankh, from Egypt. So there you go.
Okay, all right. So I'm not even too far off. Hey, so, some intuition. I'm going to blame Night Stalker for this because he's dubbed me a synchro mystic, and now my ego's running away with it. But it seemed like talking about this stuff, thinking about this stuff. Like I said, shows don't come together that fast when it's like it needs legs and has a little bit of depth and it's compelling. And it was like boom, 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 boom. Holy shit! How did I get here? I don't know, man. And also, by the way, you ever heard of this guy? Jeddy? You ever heard of this guy? This the first, literally. So I guess again, going by the Society of American Magicians Hall of Fame and Magic Museum, which is by no means definitive, but by date, the very first magician they've inducted into their Hall of Fame is Dedi of ancient Egypt, 2500 BC. You ever heard of this guy? This is like the original fucking Merlin, bro.
Yeah, dude, I am so glad you brought this up, and I'm so glad you brought it up in terms of, like, allowing the listeners to see how much work is involved. This has come on its own by chance, but I'm so glad you mentioned that, because earlier on you mentioned about missing the obvious pyramid power shape in making this show, because the context didn't fall in, and then somebody points it out and you think, oh yeah, that seems obvious. And I've been doing a massive magic show, as you know, writing all this stuff, and it's not occurred to me to look for a Hall of Famer who's the first one that went in. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's not in my thing either. It didn't occur to me to put that into a massive magic show, but it don't quite fit. It's not necessarily relevant in that context, but it's just a detail worth mentioning, isn't it? You just don't think of, because it's like, say, you go down these rabbit holes, start pulling on some side thread just to see, and it takes you down another rabbit hole. And you gotta create a boundary, and you gotta have a cut-off point with some of this, don't you? And it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, you got to be able to stop. You got to stop. Like, there's only so much you can do in one night. Like, again, like that's the whole point of this. It's like, hey, look, I don't know. Like I said, as you guys know, I'm the questions guy. I'm not the answers guy. I can't define anything for you, but I can say, look, this is where my brain was, and this is how I went from A to B to C to D, and that's how we got here tonight. And not just myself. Again, like I can't gush enough about all the amazing friends we've got on Troubled Minds. I mean, like Night Stalker says it, and this is the truth, right? We're like the 1927 Yankees. It's a murderer's row of callers and ideas that just keep flowing through, man. And that's because of you. That's because of let's see who's still in here. I'm going to just name the people that are in here. That's because of APOC. That's because of Rohan. That's because of all the rest of the folks who called in tonight and who call in most nights, many nights, right? I mean, this is not, I don't think this is an accident, right? Like, again, back to the idea of, do you believe everything is a coincidence, or do you not believe in coincidence at all? I don't know, man. There's some sick shit here, but some things I didn't know. There were some actual links to from, again, being a Yankee, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about regarding like British stuff. If you listen to me on that French thing I was talking about, sometimes a show comes together in less than an hour for me, right? Other times I spend days reading shit because I don't know anything about England, right? I do know it is a magical isle. I do know it's the island of King Arthur. I do know Nottingham Forest, right, which is still a thing apparently. I mean, there's like these legends that live in our minds too over here as Yankees. So what the fuck do we know? But I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. What else you got, my friend? I'm just rambling.
Don't go to Sherwood Forest. You'll be unbelievably disappointed.
Is it that bad? I've heard it's that bad.
Yeah, it's gone. It's so gone. They don't film it there. They film it in other big forest lands, but it would have been like that. But it's just not there. There's only a tiny fraction left, just preserved, and the rest of it's like replanted trees. Do you know what I mean? Would have like tried to bring it back, but they're all like 20 years old or something. So they're all thin, and they use it for paintballing. So watch your head.
Yeah, all right, go your head. You might come walking in looking for Robin Hood and get pelted in the head with the paintball. All right, copy that.
Yeah, don't wear a mod T-shirt because you're just gonna get hit by everyone.
Don't do that. All right, got it. All right. Well, see, there you go. That's something I didn't know, and that's what I'm saying. Like, this is why talking to people all over the world is an amazing thing. What else you got, man? Regarding all of this, what's your thought here?
Well, right. Matt mentioned something about, there was that Giza power plant link, and that was, I meant to say APOC straight away, so Christopher Dunn, I wrote it in the Rockfair story, yeah, Christopher Dunn, the Giza power plant, because when you mentioned that black substance, I thought, is that some kind of maybe that's a residue, thinking from this term of the pyramid was used as a sort of manufacturing plant that, did something with chemicals to make something. I can't remember, I don't really know exactly, the automatic power or whatever, but then I got thinking about the Anunnaki link. I got thinking about that angel here, that mana, that white substance that I think might be a monoatomic gold. Okay, so I'm thinking maybe it was like a kind of monoatomic gold factory. Some of that black stuff may be a hint towards residue of chemical processes, and that's maybe what some of these side chambers are for, to tip liquids in and stuff. So it's like a kind of fermenting machine. Maybe it can extract maybe it can break down gold with a chemical process. And so you've got your sacred cow being ground down into white dust. That's your food to rejuvenate you, because there's that stories in the Anunnaki stuff that they're aging rapid, moving too fast around, whatever, in our orbit. So they've got to, extend the life with this monoatomic gold. And maybe that explains why some of these people in our religious scriptures are living for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they're making that stuff. And so living a long time. Maybe it was also a power plant. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember there was the thing about the courtyard was 4-inch thick quartz crystal. Well, that's resonant. And then they got these big obelisks. And then I think it was either Matt Sow or it might have been Enoch mentioned in the chat one time about bouncing sound from them mirrors that they tell us just to reflect light. Maybe they're more for, you know what I mean? So maybe it was a power plant, but also a manufacturing plant for something like that for your longevity. But at the same time, the Farsighters say there was this one pyramid that's known as the Eye of Sahara now. It's like a big concentric rings where they say just got blown to bits, where there was a pyramid that had a grill on the side. It like breathed. That was definitely some kind of chemical plant or something, but they reckon it mind controlled everybody as well in the immediate area. So some aliens supposedly came in and blew it up because it was like just brainwashing everyone, like a big, like emitting some kind of field or something. I don't know. It's crazy stuff, man. But there's so much to it, Michael.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like I said, I had to stop. I literally backed off. Like I backed off like an hour to showtime, and I was like, okay, all right, this is probably going to be enough. Because it's going to be difficult for me to describe in a radio format, right? Like if we were in like Discord or something, I could probably tell us the entire fucking arc of the story in like 15 or 20 minutes, right? Like kind of uninterrupted. But you got calls, you got commercials, you know what I mean? So you kind of have to plan for like a longer narrative, and I'm okay at that. But it's difficult because you have to, in a longer narrative in a radio format, you also have to recap. So like people just dip it in 20 minutes into the thing, know what the fuck you're talking about. It's hard. hard. It's harder than it seems. But I'm just hey, Rohan, I'm just here doing my best, and hopefully my best is good enough. And by the way, I'm getting better every day, so there's also that. You're
pro. You're on it. Your timing on that stuff's good. You're keeping it tight. Keeping mindful of everything. You know, there's a lot of balancing in your brain going on, isn't there? So I can appreciate that because I know what it's like. So well done.
Trying to. Thank you. That's very nice. Anything else you got for us before we bounce out of here?
Yeah, just before we bounce. Yeah, nearly on the bottom of the hour. Matt, quick. Yeah, good point about maybe that the Egyptian rituals making the mummies is like, yeah, they're just carrying on the traditions of a like lost technology, a bit like Stargate, you know, with the sarcophagus. Maybe that didn't work anymore, but they're going through the motions, and they didn't realise they're supposed to rise again after a few hours or a few days. You know, maybe, like I say, I thought that was a good point. That was really nice. But just to sort of cap off of all of this, in fact, using the Stargate analogy, actually, I don't want people to be fearful of all this stuff. So I'll say, like, just these politicians and this war stuff, I think they're trying to trick us. They're loading it up like gods. We're not really asking for proof. Like Jen says, you know, divine right to rule. We're not getting proof for that. We're not really questioning it. So I think that it's probably epic stuff really has happened. So people did buy it in the beginning. But now it's just become a case of these people are just like gold, you know, loading it up, pretending to be gods, using fear. But when it comes down to it, if it comes, you know, in Stargate, the infantry weapons were designed to intimidate, whereas our weapons are war weapons designed to kill. So pound for pound, we was able to beat them, even though they got spaceships and stuff, because they weren't expecting anyone to fight back. They was just having flashy, scary weapons. When it came down to a fight, they couldn't handle it. Do you know what I'm saying? So, what's the term? I just got to the Ori. Oh shit, man! It's just getting real and Stargate. It's just when you think you've got a victory.
Yeah, right. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen Stargate SG-1, I'm near the end of it. It's like 10 seasons. I'm like 9.3 on the way through, and usually I put on one episode and fall asleep and get 2/3 of the way through it. Last night I went to bed at like 12:30. It was 5 a.m. I'm still watching this shit because shit got real. I was like, oh
yeah,
God.
They look legit. Before you can catch them out, but they look legit, don't they? You're like, holy
Yep. Yeah. Things get real. If you've never seen it, like I said, to the Robert out there, if you watch Stargate, it's on Netflix. The first 6 episodes suck balls. It's weird. They're trying to find their footing for a longer story. The longer story is fantastic. It's very, very good. I never thought I would say this, but I think, you know, I'm a big Star Trek The Next Generation fan. I think measuring the two up, I'm a Stargate guy instead of Star Trek The Next Generation, if that tells you anything. I think it's very, very good long term. Good shit. Rohan, I appreciate you, my man. Rohan has a podcast. Hey, we doing this thing Friday or what?
Yeah, let's do it, man. I think we should. I only got to hit record. I was getting all nervous, but then I thought I do this all the time. So, yeah.
The mighty Rohan has a podcast. The famous Liam Martin. He's got a podcast called Exiled Minds Podcast. And guess what? His next guest is going to be Michael Strange. That's going to be on Friday. Do we have a time yet? An actual time?
Yeah. I reckon it's going to be after James's thing about 9 p.m. Eastern Friday. So, yeah.
Okay, so we'll have on Friday we'll have Troubled Minds news from 3 to 4 p.m. Pacific, and then James comes on at 5 p.m. Pacific on his podcast. We checked with him to make sure everything was cool. We don't want to we're all friends, and we don't want to draw people away from whatnot and the other things. James said cool. So we'll be 1 hour after James, right? So James goes on at 5. We'll be on at 6. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's about right. We'll just double check.
Right.
But yeah, I think that worked the time zones, man. Why can't we just have the same clock? That's what James said. And I thought, that's genius.
Okay, yeah. So that's what we'll do. So I'll share all the links below. I'm going to be on Rohan's podcast. We're going to talk about magic. We've been talking about this for a minute, Rohan and I. I don't believe magic is real, at least in some capacities, and he thinks it's more real than I think it is. And we're going to talk about that. And he's going to try and convince me. There you go. So please give him a follow. Links in the description down below. It says follow Rohan here. Click the thing and go say hi. Rohan, make me a link tree. Do a thing where you have your podcast and your YouTube and all the rest in one link, APOC has one. James has one. I've made one for myself. Do it so you can not just share one link. You can share all the links so people can follow you in all the places.
Ooh.
Okay. I'll send you the information on how to do that. Okay. It's like super simple, but there you go. Rohan, you're the best. Thanks for dipping in here and being awesome and spreading some of that UK knowledge. Hey, just real quick, the Robert on Rockfin says I have to before we get out of here, I have to say this. We were talking about attending your own funeral as a hologram. The Robert says this: I can picture my hologram greeting, quote, "Thank you for coming," at my own funeral. Perhaps one less practical joke, I'll have a recorded CD player attached to a timer to blast my recorded scream of let me out," as they lower my closed coffin into the hole. You sick bastard, Robert.
You know what, though? That's a classic.
Hey, why not? Hey, people will be talking about you for a long time, my friend. Holy shit! I think we're all gonna have to queue up something similar. You're the best, Rohan. I appreciate it, bro. We'll see you. Hey, maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday. We're coming up. Exiled Minds podcast. Rohan and I talking about magic and ritual. I appreciate it, bro. You're the best. Let's go back to APOC. APOC, you okay? Everything okay? You got anything to add?
Yeah. I love Rohan's brain very much.
Do you want to squeeze it like you're pinching an ass, or is that different?
Yeah, like squeeze it and drink the juice, and
you're quite welcome to lick it if you want.
See what I did there?
I'll remember that.
See what I did there?
The apocalypse.
Go ahead, APOC. Sorry.
Got your brain right.
Didn't mean to digress into all that. Go right ahead.
So he brought up the monatomic gold powder. They actually created patties out of those, like cakes, and there are a lot of depictions of the rulers and gods being handed these cakes of monatomic. I'm not even sure it's monatomic, actually. It could be that they had a different process for the gold, because if you go into Hathor's temple, starts with a D. I can't remember exactly what it was, but this exploration of her temple and actually the hieroglyphs on it and the stories and the depictions and the other things that I won't mention right now, they found like four, which they thought were boxes for the dead, and they opened them up and they had all this white powder in them. And of course they didn't know what it was, so the boxes were left open, the white powder just blew away over time. But they made a link to that and the gold powder, and they suspect that a lot of these temples were not temples as in temples to worship, but temples that were used as production sites to produce this gold, especially the ones related to Hathor. I did want to bring that up, but also another thing hit me when Ron said something was that the guy who discovered the AIDS virus was a scientist who actually was in a lot of fringe areas in respect to his research, and he worked on principles of water, different things that you could discover from water, and sort of how it can be used in different ways, and other things. But in this experiment with water, one of them that he was doing, he actually took a test tube with HIV DNA with AIDS, with the AIDS virus, and it was the DNA. He took how do I explain? Okay, so he basically took the frequency he registered the frequency of that DNA, and then he sent the sound of that frequency over 100 miles to another lab into a sterilized test tube with water. sterile water. And what was produced was the photonic memory of the DNA, so the photons of the DNA. The photons are light, which connects to the hologram, which connects to, if you cut a leaf or whatever, you can still read the photonic memory of that leaf, which leads to the holographic thing as well. So I thought I'd bring that up in respect to the potential for, if holograms can exist, there might actually be a connection to strengthen the idea of potential awareness or whatever in relationship to embedding that potentially in the light spectrum of the hologram to create an actual person, so to speak. And the last thing I just wanted to say on that joke earlier, I honestly just didn't want people to get the wrong impression if they were going to my portal page. It's not like that. Yeah, that's it.
Right. So look, it's not like that. So if you don't go to APOC's portal page expecting to get your brain licked, you won't get your brain licked. All right. Like it's like you have to cross through the portal into the astral plane, and then you might maybe get your brain licked. And not by APOC, by the Mind Flayer, of course. There you go. APOC, you're the best. Please give APOC a follow. Apocalypse Tau, give Rohan a follow. Again, the Exiled Minds podcast. I'll be on that show on Friday with Rohan. We're talking magic. Rohan has been saying, hey, for weeks, even a couple months now, he's like, hey, Mike, magic is real. I'm like, maybe. He's like, I'll convince you. I'm like, oh, let's do it. He's like, let's do a podcast and talk about it. I'm like, perfect. We're going to do it. And I just gave him some ammunition with the very first magician in antiquity that is almost a Jedi. Go ahead, look, links in the description. I'm not making shit up. Look, it seems like I'm making shit up half the time, and I only am like a third of the time or a quarter of the time. In any case, let's get the fuck out of here. You're the best, APOC. You're the best, Rohan. Thank you so much. Shout out to Rivers for correcting us on the gold carriage and all the rest of this. I don't know what the fuck's really going on. Don't listen to me. There are no answers here. There are only more questions, and that's that. So let's do it. Let's roll it. We got this. Usually we got a James Trobe, but I think he fell asleep. I think James fell asleep tonight. So we got me off the cuff doing a thing. Unless one of you guys got an outro for us. Anybody?
No. Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't either. It's not always necessary. It's bonus time. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna play the music. We'll get the fuck out. The thing is, you guys know the drill, right? We do this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific. There are changes coming to Troubled Minds that have not developed as of yet. Stay tuned. If you're into changes, well, changes are coming. I don't know what they are because I haven't decided entirely. That's that. So, wink, wink. You're into conspiracies. There's no conspiracy here. It's just the way things are. You live life. You grind your nuts off. You talk about amazing stuff. You make amazing friends. And then you have to decide what comes next. So that's that. All right, so as we finish, I don't know what else to say other than there's no outro here. If I'm too far off the rails for you, well, I challenge you. I dare you. Like Matt in Colorado said, he's like, once I found Troubled Minds, I go listen to other paranormal radio, and I'm like bored as fuck. I'm like, I got to go back and talk to these guys. I challenge you. Is there a better conversation out there on the internet? I am saying no, because number one, my ego is incredibly large. But number two, actually, I should reverse that. Number one, because of all the incredible friends, intelligent, smart, open-minded people that we have contributing. That's number one. Number two, we'll put my ego in the back seat for the moment because of all the amazing people that are part of this. We'll backseat my ego for a moment, but I don't think so. I do myself. I listen to some other paranormal stuff sometimes, and I'm just like, fuck, I want to stab my eyeballs out. It's like, fuck, no. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, come on, let's be more dynamic about this shit. And this is what happens, right? It's hard when you're solo to be dynamic. But when you have amazing friends with amazing ideas,
Word.
it's less hard. It's less hard. What's up, Rohan? What's up, APOC? All right, let's get the fuck out. It goes like this. As we finish, if you want to help the show, there are a number of ways. Number one, the most important way if you want to help the show, sub up on Rockfin. It's the best value for you. It's the best value for me. Right? Rockfin. Go to Troubled Minds, rockfin.com, ROKFIN.com/Troubled Minds. Sub up. You not only get on-demand bonus shows from Troubled Minds on demand, right, which is not available anywhere else, the podcast feed or anything else, unless you're Patreon, of course. But you also get, again, Michael Tracy, you get Abby Martin, you get Sam Tripoli, you get so many people that are included in the Rockfin. You get all of that. You get all of their shit. My shit, their shit, everybody's shit, our shit. Hey, if you're going to spend money on Troubled Minds, Rockfin's the way to go, all right? Number two, Patreon, of course, is good. Sends the money. It's all good. Thank you for appreciating the work that we do and that I do. Number three, Twitch is the worst because they take half of it, right? That's the worst, all right? Number four, troubledfans.com if you want hats and shirts and shit. New designs coming. There you go. If you want merch. If you don't want to spend money but you want to help the show, it's super easy. Spread the word. Listen to the podcast feed. There's, I don't know, how many episodes? Anybody remember? 432 episodes on the podcast feed. If you listen to those, you help the show because they're monetized. It's a few cents. It's like 2.5 cents per download, right? It's super small, but every little bit helps. So there you go. Go listen to some old shows and spread the word. And there we go. As we finish, it goes exactly like this. The music has run out, and I talk way too fucking much, but God damn it, thank you, I do, because if I don't, we'd end in like 2.5 hours ago. So it goes like this. Be sure. Be strong. Be true. Don't forget to follow all the amazing people that make this show go. It's not just me. There's so many people that contribute. You know who they are. If I list names, I'll forget somebody. Links in the description below. Thank you to each and every one of you. You guys know who you are. And as we finish, thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night.